Okay, so the apocalypse is here and humanity's last stand is looking extremely over. Our boy, one of the last defenders, knows the city behind them is completely screwed, and he is just baffled how this video game nightmare somehow bled into the real world. All around him, his comrades are dead, proving there is absolutely no way out of this. Despite the overwhelming odds, he gets to his feet, ready for one final, hopeless charge. This final boss is literally a giant Grim Reaper because of course it is, subtlety is dead. But even with zero hope, he is not going down without a fight, powering up his staff. His plan is simple: if he is gonna die, he is taking a chunk of this thing with him. He throws everything he has into one last, desperate attack against the apocalyptic being. And it is not enough. The scythe cuts him down as he screams in total defiance. Only to wake up screaming at his desk, very much not dead and very much confused. He is suddenly in the middle of a classroom, having a full-on meltdown during an exam. His teacher is understandably not thrilled with the outburst, calling him out for being a slacker. Our guy is just trying to process the fact that he is not a pile of apocalyptic dust. Then it hits him: he has been sent back 10 years to the exact day the apocalypse game launched. Checking his pocket, he finds something that definitely should not be there from his past life. It is his apocalypse ring, the very item that lets him enter the game, and it came back with him. Meanwhile, the teacher gets right in his face, calling him trash and threatening to kick him out. But our guy is not the same scared kid anymore, and he just looks at him with cold eyes. He grabs the teacher, remembering this guy as a coward who sold out his students in the future. He just strolls out, telling the teacher he's got a game to play, priorities man. His classmates are totally into it, calling him Sumu and thinking he is a rebel for ditching the exam. And this apocalypse game is not some indie project. It is a worldwide craze that has taken over everything. This in-game economy is so insane you can literally trade a cool axe for a mansion. Even governments are getting in on the action, using the game for international trade deals. For every new millionaire popping a sports car, there is some poor soul who lost it all. Sumu walks through the city knowing nobody has a clue what this game will actually become, because eventually the game's monsters and bosses just show up for real, ending civilization. Humanity's armies threw everything they had at the invasion, but it was a total slaughter. A few superpowered players emerged, giving people a sliver of hope against the gods and demons. But in the end, it was not nearly enough. The world just burned until nothing was left. Snapping back to the present, he accepts this second chance, ready to rewrite that grim ending. Looking at the peaceful world, he is determined to make sure humanity actually wins this time. He gets back to his empty apartment, the calm before the storm officially begins. On the table, a note from his parents says they have gone on an exploration trip. This time, he swears with everything he has that his mom and dad will survive. It is 11 a.m., and with the ring already in his possession, he has a massive head start. He's got exactly 1 hour to log in before the game officially launches for everyone else. With a deep breath, he twists the ring on his finger, praying it actually works, and it lights up like a beacon. He is about to get the ultimate early access pass. His digital self rises from his physical body, laughing because the crazy plan actually worked. Surrounded by a sea of code, he reintroduces himself to this world as Sumu, ready for round 2. He dives headfirst into the data stream, officially kicking off his second apocalypse journey. A very Gandalf-looking NPC greets him, welcoming him to the Azure Dragon server, very original. This new player guide gives him the whole future is in your hands speech, but Sumu's just glad he is in early. He is presented with 5 classic RPG classes, a whole buffet of ways to die really. Learning from his past, he decides to be a warlock this time, avoiding the money pit that is the mage class. But the system immediately hits him with a profession change not possible error, which is confusing. Even the guide seems a bit stumped, suggesting Sumu just check his attribute panel first. He opens his stats and has a full-blown meltdown. He is already a level 4 mage from his past life. Our boy throws a chibi tantrum at the NPC for sticking him with the expensive class, but the guide just pieces out. After composing himself, he asks the important question: where's all his starting gear? His inventory screen pops up, revealing absolutely nothing, prompting another round of despair. But wait, in one of the empty slots, there is a single, lonely-looking skeletal arm. He pulls up the item details, discovering it is the Grim Reaper's handbone, a souvenir from his death apparently. Its description is just some edgy abyss quote, which is 0% helpful. His stats are even worse: level 1, unknown quality, and an inactive attribute, making it totally useless for now. Just as he is about to give up, a system message announces he is the first player to log in. He is teleported to the novice village, gets a free set of mage gear and a brand new title, Fastest Man. And Sumu is absolutely livid about the title, finding Fastest Man to be the most insulting reward imaginable. But after a moment, he realizes the stats are actually amazing, so maybe Fastest Man is not so bad. He immediately finds some starter zone boars ready to unleash some apocalyptic level power on them. With a dramatic pose, he launches his very first spell in this new life, a tiny fireball. It hits for a whopping 12 damage, and Sumu has an existential crisis over being so weak again. Now the whole angry pig family is chasing him down as he tries to negotiate with them. It is not working. He is forced to run for his life, realizing his past life skills do not mean much at level 1. Suddenly, a damsel in distress appears out of nowhere, begging for someone to save her. She's being chased by a massive wild boar king, a classic setup for a hero's entrance. A system notification pops up, offering him the first hidden quest of the game for a heroic rescue. Sumu gets a greedy glint in his eye, thinking his protagonist-level luck has finally kicked in. He opens his arms wide, ready to catch the falling maiden like a true storybook champion, except he just shoves her aside, using her as bait and telling her it is a big surprise. In a cold silhouette, he stands back and lets her face the giant boar all by herself. She is completely baffled, explaining she was just picking mushrooms when the monster attacked. This woman then asks how he knew she was a trap, her innocent act starting to crack. Sumu just smirks, listing off all her dirty little secrets from his past life's knowledge. Her expression darkens as red lines start to appear all over her skin, clearly pissed he knows. With a sinister smile, she reveals her true form, admitting he knows way too much. Her stats reveal she is an enchanted monster, and Sumu just laughs at her pathetic disguise. He smugly explains that he has learned from the mistakes of every player who died to her before. She is completely furious he saw through her act, threatening to kill the human on the spot. But Sumu just pats the giant boar, telling his pig brother to go get her first, a brilliant strategy. This boar immediately pivots, charging straight for its supposed master, who is not having a good day. With lightning crackling in its eyes, the Boar King is officially done with everyone's nonsense. It slams right into her with full force, sending the enchantress flying like a ragdoll. This monster gets absolutely shredded by the boar's tusks, a beautiful case of karma in action. After taking a beating, she runs past Sumu, promising he is next on her hit list. He just points at her, yelling that she is exposed, which only leaves her confused. Then he unleashes a fireball, his first real spell against her, and the game UI pops up to explain it. It is a direct hit, engulfing her in a fiery explosion for a solid 36 damage. This reveals her true tiny fairy form, and she is livid while Sumu just casually snacks. He follows up with another Chiba fireball because why use big spells when tiny ones are funnier? Thus begins the great chase, with Sumu kiting her through the woods like an absolute pro. His internal monologue reveals the master plan. He knows she is magically bound to this forest. Standing right at the edge of the tree line, he prepares to spring his perfect trap. Sumu then openly taunts her, daring her to come out and fight him like a real boss. She threatens to tear him apart, and he just mocks her with a deadpan "Oh, I am so scared." As she lunges, he calmly catches her hand, his smirk game at an all-time high. She is suddenly frozen in place, unable to move, and he just tells her to figure it out herself. With his enemy completely helpless, Sumu decides to stop playing around and summons a meteor shower. A full-on meteor shower rains down on the tiny fairy, which feels just a little excessive. She collapses in a heap, completely defeated, as the system rewards pop up for Sumu. He is flooded with notifications for completing the quest, getting a fat stack of gold and leveling up to 2. With a greedy smile, Sumu looms over her, ready to see what kind of loot she drops. But then he spots something weird in his inventory. That skeletal hand is suddenly glowing. Somehow the Grim Reaper's handbone actually leveled up with him, now pulsing with a purple aura. Its stats are still mostly a mystery, with an inactive attribute in that same edgy abyss quote. Sumu has no memory of this item from his past life, but he has to admit the name is pretty cool. Then he sees the activation requirements, a shopping list so absurd he has a full-on chibai meltdown. Deciding to focus on grinding for now, he helps the narrow-formed Zio Hua to her feet. She thanks him for saving her from the curse and hands over a sweet-looking staff as a reward. Our boy just smirks, thinking he needed her demonic aura to trigger the hidden quest in the first place. This new staff turns out to be a purple-tier weapon, making the whole trap totally worth it. She then asks for an escort back to her village, triggering another main quest for Sumu. So she hops on his back for a piggyback ride, and Sumu is enjoying this a little too much. With his new quest accepted, they officially leave the forest and head towards Kingyu village. They arrive with him still carrying her, getting some very confused looks from the local NPCs. Zio Hua happily announces her return to her grandpa, waving from Sumu's back like a queen. An old man, the village chief, steps out, looking incredibly relieved to see his granddaughter. As they have a tearful reunion, Sumu gets the notification that his escort duty is officially over. This village chief tries to be formal, but Sumu just shoves his hand out, demanding the quest now. His inner monologue reveals the old man will just crack sunflower seeds and ramble for hours if you let him. Apparently, Zio Hua needs a demon zombie blood cleanse, and Sumu already knows exactly where to go. With the blood of the undead quest accepted, he waves goodbye, ready to get grinding. First stop on his zombie-slaying world tour is the alchemist, because a mage needs his potions. He walks up to the alchemy shop, a place he seems to remember with some anticipation. Inside, a very friendly alchemist greets him, and Sumu immediately recognizes this familiar, fragrance. He tries to buy 28 mana potions, already feeling the financial pain of being a mage. This alchemist gets way too close, offering a special discount if he is nice to her. And Sumu immediately shuts that down with the most awkward face imaginable, thanks but no thanks. She calls him boring as he flees with his potions, deciding he is not equipped to handle that kind of boss battle. Bumping into a huge blacksmith, he quickly changes his tune from iron-headed to mighty and strong. He buys an identification scroll from the guy, who seems to appreciate the sudden, desperate flattery. Finding a quiet spot, Sumu prepares for the biggest gamble in the game, identifying purple-tier loot. He pulls out the staff and scroll, knowing he has to cash in on this before the market gets flooded. With a prayer to the blacksmith's decade of singledom, he uses the scroll and it is a success. This staff is identified with an insane magic burst effect, and Sumu realizes he has hit the absolute jackpot. Feeling like $1,000,000, he strolls out of the village, ready to put his new toy to use. He enters the zombie zone and the sky immediately erupts in a massive meteor shower, incinerating everything. Turns out the staff has a 10% chance to do that, and Sumu just shrugs it off like it is his natural charm. Sumu gloats about his progress, ready to watch the chaos as the server officially opens for everyone else. As the clock strikes 12, players from all walks of life jack into the game simultaneously. This village immediately descends into a mess of confused newbies, while Sumu just chills on a roof. In the world chat, everyone is losing their minds over the lack of zombies, a problem he personally created. He lays out his massive haul of loot, knowing he's got a 30-minute monopoly before monsters respawn. After doing some quick math, he realizes he is making a killing and decides to hide his level to avoid attention. So he sets up a stall with a banner promising honest dealings, which is just objectively funny. A couple of players mock him for trying to sell stuff instead of grinding, calling him wood-brained. Sumu just smirks, thinking these guys could not even take on a zombie with a full team. Then a customer approaches his stall, and all he can see at first are some very elegant shoes. His gaze travels up a pair of legs that seem to go on for an eternity. It is a total knockout, and every other player in the area is completely mesmerized. But Sumu's eyes widen in shock as he recognizes her player. This woman is a future top 10 player from a major guild, and since avatars are not a thing yet, that is her. Our boy immediately gets some questionable ideas, thinking this could be a fun, nurturing game. Intrigued by his boastful sign, she steps closer to see what kind of wares he is peddling. She is absolutely floored by his inventory, wondering how he has so much loot on day one. When she asks for a price on everything, Sumu offers her a special package deal. She immediately calls him out for his terrible math, so he suggests another way to get a discount. And he goes full goblin mode, demanding to touch her legs for 20% off, a true gentleman of business. She is completely scandalized by his offer, telling the shameless guy to back off immediately. Sumu just shrugs, acting like it is a limited-time deal and she is the one missing out. Internally, she is weighing her options. He is a creep, but her guild desperately needs that gear. Deciding to just throw money at the problem, she offers a flat 100,000 for the whole lot. But then a whole squad of beefy dudes rolls up and Sumu recognizes their leader, Crazy War God. A quick flashback reveals this guy was a top-tier jerk in his past life, known for stealing bosses. Even worse, he personally ganked Sumu multiple times, so yeah, there is some bad blood here. Crazy War God immediately muscles in on the deal, declaring that the highest bidder takes all. He throws down 150k, but she instantly counters with 200k, kicking off a bidding war. From his stall, Sumu just watches the chaos, knowing they are both desperate for a first-kill advantage. This woman is sweating bullets, realizing she cannot let her rival guild get this early-game power boost. In a moment of pure desperation, she agrees to his original deal, but for 10 touches, not one. Sumu immediately pivots, telling Crazy War God to scram because he's got a deal with the lady. This big guy absolutely loses it, threatening to murder Sumu outside the village's safe zone. His goons hold him back as he seethes, promising our boy a world of pain later on. Meanwhile, a random tower shot suggests Sumu's grand plan is all coming together perfectly. With the transaction complete, Sumu does a happy little goblin dance as she calls him a scumbag. He watches her leave, promising there'll be a next time and he will get his discount then. She walks away thinking he is a total degenerate, but something about the deal feels strategic. Sumu clarifies the final price is 120k after the discount, and she just needs to pay up, completely flustered. He leans in, asking if she is ready to fulfill her leg-touching promise, shamelessness level 100. Cornered by his question, she is completely flustered as he asks if she is backing out of the deal. Sumu just smirks, clearly enjoying her total embarrassment at the ridiculous situation he created. Then he suddenly pivots, saying he will take the loss since he hates Crazy War God anyway. She watches him go, thinking he is a scumbag but also realizing he made a powerful enemy for her. Back at the village, Sumu turns in the quest, getting his reward while the chief snacks away. This triggers a new quest to kill mummies, and he levels up to 4, his stats looking beefy. Our boy goes full chibai mode, gloating about how far ahead of everyone else he is. Feeling like he is cheating the system, he skips off to grind and widen his lead even more. But then a sudden panic hits him. He has forgotten something incredibly important. He remembers a secret deal he was supposed to make with that cunning, old village chief. His inner monologue reveals a choice. Give a hairpin to Zio Hua or the chief for a hidden reward. By choosing the chief, Sumu scores a permanent buff with region and defense penetration, the real prize. He then has the audacity to ask for the buff again, claiming he is injured like the other players. Entering the demon swamp, he is hit with a debuff that drains health and disables potions. But his new blessing gives him constant health regen, completely negating the swamp's damage. With his cheat mode active, Sumu confidently gazes into the monster-infested woods. Meanwhile, 2 other players are running for their lives, screaming about monsters catching up. This female player gets caught by mummy-like bandages, desperately crying out for help. And her partner just straight up abandons her, a true profile in courage right there. Just as the cowardly player reaches out to Sumu for help, he gets absolutely skewered by a mummy's bandage attack. Karma's a real treat. This culprit is a level 5 enchanted mummy, a ranged monster that uses its bandages like whips. Sumu immediately clocks it as a total newbie killer, which explains the recent carnage. Whipping out his new staff, he figures their slow speed is the perfect weakness to exploit. He unleashes a fiery spell, telling the ugly creatures they should be very afraid of him. It connects with a satisfying explosion, but this just seems to make the rest of them angry. Now he has got a whole horde on his tail, and he is actively taunting them to keep up the chase. A sly grin reveals his true goal, luring them all to a specific deadwood forest in the swamp. They fall for it completely, following him right into the designated kill zone he has prepared. From a safe distance, Sumu continues to mock them, daring the hesitant monsters to come at him. This, of course, sends the entire mummy squad into a full-on, red-eyed rage mode. They all lunge at once, filling the air with a chaotic storm of deadly bandages. Our boy effortlessly weaves through the chaos, dodging every single attack with absolute ease. He even has time for a little inner monologue about how experienced he is at this whole thing. Then he grabs a handful of their bandages, revealing this was his brilliant plan all along. Using their own attacks against them, he yanks the entire group into a tight, messy bundle. With a quick leap, he gets clear of the mess, leaving them hopelessly tangled together. Sumu lands safely on a branch, admiring his handiwork and gloating about his perfect calculations. Now that they are all gift-wrapped, he prepares a massive fireball to turn the whole pile to ash. A sudden system announcement reveals a new bounty: kill 100 players who harass the alchemist. Sumu's reaction is pure, unadulterated glee. He thinks this quest was practically made for him. With his staff raised, he plans to hit level 5 and then go bully some noobs for the reward. And just like that, the sky absolutely erupts in another massive meteor shower. This meteors decimate the entire mummy pile, netting him a ton of exp and a new skill book. Among the loot is a warrior skill book he cannot use, but his bounty counter has already started. Looking over the carnage, he smirks at the unlucky players caught in his AI, enjoying the chaos. Meanwhile, the world chat is a total dumpster fire of players complaining about dying in the mummy zone. Elsewhere, Crazy War God gives a big speech to his followers about how they need his leadership. He rallies his massive army of players, ordering them to march on the mummy area. His goons are already fantasizing about joining the rich, powerful player they assume is clearing the zone. But their leader just scoffs, calling everyone else paupers as he prepares to dominate. Spotting a lone mummy, he orders a full-scale assault, a classic case of overkill. Before they can even move, a single fireball explodes right in their path. Crazy War God is completely stunned, wondering what squishy mage could possibly be out here. His men start freaking out over the lingering flames, warning everyone to be careful. Then the sky lights up and the entire squad looks up in absolute horror. It is another meteor shower, raining pure indiscriminate destruction down on all of them. His whole crew gets absolutely annihilated, screaming about murder as they are vaporized. And the system confirms it: Crazy War God is dead and Sumu's bounty count is climbing fast. Sumu chills amidst the carnage, wondering why people keep volunteering to get farmed by him. He checks out his new level 5 skill, a massive AI freeze, already planning more accidents. Taking a quick break, he admires his haul of over 100 items and a dozen skill books. Then he sends a message to a friend, already scheming about his next romantic conquest, a true multitasker. Our boy stretches, hoping another group of clueless players will wander by to help finish his bounty quest. He pulls out a new blue-quality mage skill book, Wind Shadow, which is perfect for his build. Without a second thought, he learns the skill and gets a sweet 30% movement speed boost. His eyes glow with ambition as he sets his sights on level 6 in the game's first boss kill. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the swamp, another party is busy grinding away on some mummies. This group of 4, led by a woman named Fisheye, has just finished off a monster. But Fisheye announces she's got her quest items and is ditching the party immediately. Her 3 male teammates immediately start begging her to stay, laying the compliments on thick. They keep pestering her to smile, and she is just internally disgusted by their pathetic display. Well, disgusted by everyone except for one particular scumbag who is still on her mind. This guy's even offer her a vice leader spot in their future guild, a truly desperate play. Having reached her absolute limit, she tells them to shut up and powers up an attack. She blasts one of her own teammates, who takes a chunk of damage. Friendly fire is officially on. This guy is completely bewildered, wondering why his own healer is suddenly attacking him. She scoffs at his incompetence, realizing the damage recoil is from the alchemist's quest, a parting gift from Sumu. Deciding she has wasted enough time, she walks off, determined to level up and find our boy. Her mind still on Sumu, wondering if she will ever find that particular scumbag again. Meanwhile, her former party proves her right, calling her useless and plotting to sell her out. Their leader at least recognizes her skill, but his goons are just simping over his future guild. Elsewhere, Crazy War God is having a complete meltdown in world chat, spamming insults at Sumu. His followers are just as salty, crying about how Sumu wiped them out for no reason at all. A new voice cuts through the whining, telling the big guy to put up or shut up. It is a whole squad of high-level women, and their leader looks completely unimpressed by the drama. This just makes Crazy War God even madder, realizing he is now a lowly level 2 scrub. Turns out they are here for a gear trade with Sumu, and these guys are in their way. So he goes right back to spamming world chat, calling Sumu a coward hiding behind women. But then a new message pops up from Sumu asking who is looking for their grandpa. And right on cue, our boy strolls out of the fog, greeting his good grandson with a smirk. Crazy War God absolutely loses it, screaming that Sumu should be prepared to die. Sumu's response is to just casually pull up his character sheet for everyone to see. His crew immediately starts panicking, spotting his insane purple gear and that cheat-like village chief buff. They are all completely stunned, realizing this guy is not even playing the same game as them. With a confident grin, Sumu just asks his grandson what he plans to do now. Faced with overwhelming power, Crazy War God's crew looks ready to bolt, but he cannot back down. So he tries to rally his men by claiming they are the good guys here for justice, a bold strategy. His confidence suddenly returns, thinking their numbers will give them the edge against one guy's famous last words. Sumu just casually explains that he is not killing randomly, they are just wanted criminals. This onlooking ladies agree he is doing the world a favor, while Crazy War God denies everything. Done talking, the big guy leaps in with a giant hammer, but Sumu looks totally ready for a brawl. That female squad leader offers to help, but Sumu politely declines, noting her hidden interest. He then tells her and her crew to back off because he is about to get serious. Crazy War God's whole squad enters combat mode, thinking numbers will save them from this beatdown. Intrigued, the woman decides to stick around and see if Sumu's power matches his massive ego. Our boy starts charging up, calling them noobs as he switches to his group attack mode. From the air, he unleashes a storm of fireballs, forcing Crazy War God to order a shield wall. Their warriors manage to block the first volley, and the ranged attackers are ordered to fire back. But Sumu's already gone, effortlessly dodging their counterattack with his new speed skill. He reappears behind them, mocking their pathetic attempt and their now useless cooldowns. His enemies cannot even see him, while Sumu decides it is time to test out some crowd control. With a wicked grin, he prepares his new Aya ice skill, ready to turn them all into popsicles. A massive vortex of ice magic descends from the sky, and the goons can only stare in horror. This entire squad gets flash-frozen mid-scream, trapped in jagged shards of ice. It is a total party wipe as they realize their shields are on cooldown and their healers are useless. Crazy War God yells at his last surviving man for instinctively shielding himself, a true leader. Sumu just smirks, seeing their last defense was wasted, and prepares a final, fiery finisher. His eye reflects the coming explosion as he begins the final countdown to their doom. Sumu gleefully announces a surprise for the boys as a massive fireball forms above his head. Crazy War God's face is just a beautiful portrait of pure, unadulterated terror. The sky rains absolute fire, and his goons realize their shields are down. It is a total slaughter. While his men get vaporized, the big guy is desperately chugging potions just to stay alive. Now Sumu's chasing him down, and Crazy War God is pathetically threatening him to stay back. In a last-ditch effort, he refuses to accept defeat, vowing to fight to the bitter end. He unleashes his big swift wind slash, a move that leaves him with only basic attacks afterward. Our boy just dances around the attack, using his speed to make a complete fool of him. Zipping in clothes, Sumu mocks his pathetic speed before winding up a fiery punch. It connects right in his face, sending the big lug stumbling back from the explosive impact. Sumu keeps up the pressure, pelting him with fireballs while Crazy War God just tanks it, all pride no brain. Suddenly, Sumu stops, telling him he was just waiting for his skills to refresh. What a nice guy. He then cheekily suggests the big guy check his health bar, which is now basically empty. A tiny little fireball pops him on the head, and just like that, his HP hits 0. With an innocent chibai face, Sumu apologizes for accidentally killing him. He wanted to play longer. Crazy War God's ghost floats away, screaming that this is not over, a classic sore loser exit. This, of course, turns the entire crowd into a massive Sumu fan club begging to be his disciples. Even that cool female squad leader is watching, completely stunned by his overwhelming power. Then a server-wide announcement declares Sumu has completed the 100-player bounty quest. This news spreads to other servers, where everyone is losing their minds over this mysterious god-tier player. Across the servers, news of Sumu's win is making waves, and one guy is absolutely furious he lost the bounty race. Elsewhere, the captain of a pro-gaming team laments being just 20 kills short of the goal himself. He is actually impressed, admitting this Mu Shen guy beat them fair and square and might be the real deal. On yet another server, a powerful female mage who was only 10 kills away is equally stunned by the announcement. This name, Mu Shen, jogs her memory, and she wonders if it could possibly be the Su Mu she knows. Our boy gets a sudden shiver, completely oblivious to the fact that he is now famous and infamous. He then turns his attention back to the female squad leader, reminding her it is time for their trade. She is already dreading whatever weird flirty conditions he is about to tack onto their deal. Sumu pulls out a massive list of loot for sale, and she is just floored by the sheer quantity of it. After calculating the total, he cheekily asks if she wants a discount, with a very specific kind of leer. She immediately shuts that down, knowing exactly what kind of payment he is looking for. Not today, pal. He acts all disappointed, saying he had a special surprise planned if she just touched his leg again. This surprise turns out to be a super rare skill book he is offering at a friendship price. But that price comes with a new, even creepier condition. She has to let him touch her leg 10 times. Before she can even object, he declares it a promise and throws in a friendly tip as a bonus. This tip is a secret farming spot, which he then reveals is connected to a hidden quest he needs help with. She agrees to help for a price, all while wondering how he knows secrets even the developers do not. With the terms set, he offers a handshake to seal their new, slightly uncomfortable partnership. She realizes that despite his awful personality, aligning with this overpowered player is a must. Taking his hand, her caution gives way to curiosity. This guy is becoming more intriguing by the second. And we cut to the real world where Soo-Mew is just chilling in his high-tech gaming pod, looking way too comfortable. He is thinking about how this sweet ride took him ages to save for in his past life, a true regressor's glow-up. Vowing to stay ahead of the curve this time, he slips on a ring and dives back into the apocalypse. Back in-game, the entire village is in a full-blown panic over a tree god's wrath mission about to start. Soo-Mew just calmly tells the screaming masses to relax. It is only a hidden mission, total boss move. Meanwhile, some shadowy suits are watching his stream, planning to poach his strategy if he succeeds. Two other gamers are also watching, mocking the whole thing and saying even their top teams would not dare. This timer hits 0 and the whole town, including a battle-ready chef, braces for the incoming disaster. Players are already logging off in droves, completely terrified by the game's 100% realism setting. Even Soo-Mew is a little surprised, noting that NPCS never joined this fight in his previous timeline. Right on cue, the village chief and his personal guard of badasses show up to defend their home. This old man gives a classic hero speech before unleashing a powerful spell from his book. It is a massive 30-minute buff for everyone, juicing up their attack, crit, defense, and health. Outside the walls, the ground trembles as the players see what is coming, a whole forest of angry trees. And yup, there they are, a horde of monstrous treants stomping their way toward the village. One brave soul with a rifle unleashes a massive energy slash, trying to thin the herd. This battle erupts into total chaos as players desperately launch a counterattack with everything they have got. An archer and a swordsman tag team one of the giant wooden monsters, hoping to make a dent. But the trees are grabbing people left and right, with one guy already regretting ever playing this game. This entire battlefield is a beautiful mess of spells, swords, and splinters as the all-out war begins. This treant horde is officially at the gates, and the whole village is about to become firewood. Inside, the players are trapped at the respawn point, calling Soo-Mew a liar as their invincibility shield ticks down. People are straight up logging off, terrified of being spawn-camped by angry trees, a truly dignified exit. Meanwhile, the whole server is watching this disaster on a livestream, wondering what the hell is going on. Players in other villages are just glad it is not them, gossiping about the total wipeout next door. Those shady corporate types are still watching, admitting even their pros would struggle with this mess. One of the suits looks on, probably calculating how much this chaos is worth. And then out of nowhere, a massive firestorm rains down on the wooden army. This entire battlefield just erupts in explosions as the trees get absolutely barbecued. Onlookers are completely stunned, calling out the insane damage and accusing someone of cheating. Before they can even process that, a huge ice spell flash freezes one of the treants solid, and it shatters into a million icy splinters. Talk about a combo move. This crowd immediately recognizes the style, cheering that their hero Soo-Mew has finally arrived to save them. Our boy's silhouette appears, casually saying he was just letting them get some experience. What a guy. He then takes a quick swig of a mana potion, getting ready for round 2. Stepping into the light, he asks if it is okay for him to show off a little. Soo-Mew then leaps right into the fray, staff blazing as he charges the horde head-on. Their attacks barely scratch him for 1 damage, which he calls a massage, the ultimate flex. This, of course, turns the entire crowd into his personal hype squad, chanting his name. With a smirk, he tells the fan club to stop gawking and actually help him fight. Inspired by Soo-Mew, the entire crowd charges into the fray to help, leaving our boy looking completely baffled by his new fan club. His rampage is now a server-wide livestream, and all the players who logged off are scrambling to get back in on the action. That female squad leader and her crew show up, noticing the respawn point is clear and correctly guessing who is responsible. As they walk through town, one of them complains about her weak damage, while the leader just sees a golden opportunity in following Soo-Mew. With renewed purpose, the trio strikes a dramatic pose, ready to jump back in and grind some of that sweet, sweet tree-slaying XP. Elsewhere, another team leader tries to rally his own troops, calling for warlocks to start buffing everyone for the fight. His support mages get to work, casting a spirit shield that absorbs a chunk of incoming damage. They follow it up with a spell power boost, just as the leader realizes another top player, Tingsu-wan, has joined the battle. And there she is, the powerful mage Tingsu-wan, already taking charge and recruiting players for her main assault force. She immediately orders a massive volley of spells, and the sky just erupts in a rainbow of magical destruction. On the ground, players are actually using teamwork for once, with warriors tanking and assassins finishing off the wounded treants. Back in the real world, an entire audience watches the livestream, completely shocked that the village is actually fighting back. These spectators are losing their minds, crediting Soo-Mew for the turnaround and wondering if a win is even possible. Meanwhile, the leader of the Madman Family Guild is frantically texting his members to log back in before all the loot is gone. He has got a greedy smirk, already calculating all the easy experience points they can steal from the chaos, a true opportunist. In some high-tech research institute, an observer casually dismisses the whole event as nothing special, clearly unimpressed. A military commander, however, sees potential, ordering his subordinate to analyze the data so his own soldiers can replicate the event. His subordinate looks terrified, explaining their troops are way too low-level and that Su Mu's power is just unnatural. This commander scoffs at the warning, declaring his nation must be the best and decides to rush the mission immediately. He then gives his underling a death glare, threatening to replace him if he does not trigger the event now, and the guy just caves. Back in the village, everyone's celebrating their win and leveling up, basically forming the official Su Mu fan club. But the party gets cut short by a weird sound as a red streak splits the sky, and Su Mu knows what is coming. From the forest, a monstrously huge tree trunk begins to rise, twisting and groaning as it emerges. And there it is, the enchanted tree god clone, a level 10 boss with stats that just scream you are all gonna die. Its face is pure nightmare fuel, roaring with glowing red eyes and ready to turn them all into mulch. This thing immediately starts swatting players like flies, sending bodies and screams absolutely everywhere. Its giant wooden hand comes crashing down right on Ting Su Wan, who is caught completely off guard. She thinks it is over, but a hand suddenly covers her eyes just a split second before the impact. This tree god's massive fists are stopped cold, smashing into an unseen barrier with a huge shockwave. Of course, it is Su Mu, who swooped in to save her while holding his staff like it is just another Tuesday. After setting her down, he wonders if the boss targeted him because his reborn identity is just that alluring. What an ego. Meanwhile, everyone else's attacks are just bouncing off the boss for double-digit damage, basically a light tickle. This crowd finally reads the boss's stats and collectively loses their minds over its massive health and revive skills. To make things worse, the tree god is flanked by its army of smaller, equally angry-looking tree minions. Totally defeated, the players turn to Su Mu, begging their new god for a strategy to avoid getting wiped. Su Mu, looking bored, just tells everyone to chill and handle the mobs. He has got the big one. Ting Su Wan tells him to be careful, and he gives her a cool nod, ready to take on the world boss solo. Stepping up, Ting Su Wan starts rallying the remaining players, calling all the warlocks to her side. She lays out a full battle plan, and for once the players actually start coordinating their attacks as a team. Watching her take charge, Su Mu is genuinely impressed, thinking she has got the makings of a real leader. This tree god gets a nasty power-up, crackling with dark purple energy and looking absolutely furious. Su Mu is surrounded by its spiky tendrils, wondering why this boss seems to have a personal vendetta against him. Zipping around the battlefield, he reveals he knows its weakness, the heart. Naturally, while dodging like a pro, he lands a direct hit on the weak spot, but even a crit barely dents its ridiculously thick bark. While still monologuing midair, he explains the boss's revive skill will not work on its corrupted soul. With a ton of confidence, he figures he can solo this thing as long as he keeps his mana up and does not get hit. Deciding to be a team player, Su Mu starts kiting the boss away to give the others some breathing room. Ting Su Wan immediately picks up on his plan, ordering her warlocks to set up a healing and buff station. She watches him go, a little flustered but clearly impressed by this Mu Shen guy's leadership. Meanwhile, the tree god lets out a furious roar, its entire body bristling with a forest of deadly spikes. It then unleashes a massive wave of those spikes, trying to turn the entire battlefield into a pincushion. Su Mu just casually parkours over the attack, using the spiky branches like a deadly jungle gym. From his new perch, he calls down a massive firestorm on the minions below. Time for a barbecue. His spell locks onto one of the smaller treants, which is about to have a very, very bad day. A literal meteor shower of fireballs rains down, racking up some absolutely insane damage numbers. Just as the fire connects, he follows up with a huge ice spell from below for a brutal elemental combo. He gives the boss a smug look, offering it a taste of ice and fire. This kid's dramatic flair is off the charts. Back with the main force, Ting Su Wan checks the boss's health, calculating they can win in just 2 more minutes. Fired up by their progress, the remaining players charge forward as one, ready to claim their hard-earned loot. Su Mu perfectly times another ice spell, freezing a minion solid and looking way too pleased with himself. Su Mu winds up for one last attack, announcing this is the grand finale. He unleashes a massive fireball that obliterates the frozen minion, which curses him on its way out. This monster shatters into a million pieces, having a full-on existential crisis in its final moments. With the boss gone, its entire army of tree minions just crumbles into dust all over the battlefield. A server-wide announcement declares Su Mu the first player ever to clear this event, earning him a legendary chest. Everyone in the village gets a victory notification and a fat stack of rewards, with Ting Su Wan leading the Mu Shen's amazing chant. Back in the real world, the livestream audience is losing their minds over the free levels and massive gold payout. Meanwhile, the game forums are just a salt mine of envy from players in other villages. Su Mu checks his loot, grabbing the tree god essence he needs for his next big power-up, the death god's hand bone. And just to rub it in, a golden light show announces he has hit level 9. This guy's progress is just unfair. He pulls up his inventory, ready to activate the creepy-looking skeletal artifact and see what it does. This activation requires all the materials he has conveniently gathered, including the essence he just looted. A progress bar appears as the bone starts channeling some seriously ominous purple energy, but the activation suddenly paralyzes him, leaving him completely vulnerable as the energy surges around him. At the same time, a strange wind kicks up, and Ting Su Wan senses that this hidden quest is far from over. She suddenly gets hit with a debuff called Death's Gaze, which freezes her in place. Do not stare into the abyss, kids. This entire player base gets the same debuff, panicking as they realize they cannot move or even log out. This mysterious wind intensifies, trapping everyone in a swirling vortex of mist and confusion. Inside the fog, players are blinded and their health bars start draining for no apparent reason. Tingsuan watches her health drop to zero, realizing with horror that she cannot use potions and is not even respawning. Tingsuan tries to calm everyone, theorizing the devs are just scrambling to patch the game after they broke it so fast. But her calm cracks when she realizes Sumew is missing, immediately worrying he has triggered something and is in danger. Meanwhile, Sumew is stuck in a creepy forest, paralyzed by a death's gaze debuff he has never even heard of. Suddenly, the sky rips open to reveal a pair of absolutely terrifying, glowing red eyes staring down at him. He looks up at the massive, shadowy presence, and yeah, that is not a friendly neighborhood welcome wagon. These eyes just ooze pure malice as the artifact's activation bar slowly keeps on ticking up. Our boy puts two and two together and absolutely panics. He has just summoned the actual death god. He is completely losing it, realizing this is an endgame boss meant for the literal apocalypse, not a Tuesday afternoon. Sumew figures out his shiny new artifact just fast-forwarded the game's entire plot, summoning a boss he knows nothing about. As the activation continues, he recognizes the voice. It is the same one he heard right before he died in his past life. And there he is, a full-blown Grim Reaper-looking dude materializing right in front of him, radiating "you are screwed" energy. This death god looms over him with a scythe, and Sumew's having a crisis. Is he really about to get a game over on life too? He is completely paralyzed and cannot break free as flashbacks of his first pathetic death taunt him. This new boss gives a classic villain monologue about darkness and reigning supreme, you know, the usual. Instead of just killing him, the death god floats down and asks Sumew a simple question: do you want to live? This offer is a job promotion to Death Grand Mage, complete with absolutely broken stats, a literal cheat code. Sumew is just baffled, wondering why this cosmic entity is offering him a job with such an insane benefits package. His ego kicks in, cycling through reasons from chosen 1 to 2 handsome before landing on the obvious. He is the protagonist, duh. Then choice 2 pops up. Refuse and get a full account wipe, level reset, all items gone, the works. He is agonizing over the decision, mostly because losing his hard-earned legendary gear would be the ultimate tragedy. Sumew tries stalling the literal god of death, asking for a minute to weigh his options as if he is choosing a lunch special. Internally, he is just running out the clock for the artifact's activation while giving a big speech about protecting humanity. This death god is not impressed by the delay, looming over him as the activation bar inches toward 100%. After a moment of dramatic reflection on his oh-so-difficult second life, Sumew finally prepares to give his answer. With a look of pure, unadulterated defiance, he gets ready to make his stand. And of course he screams, "I refuse." Right in the face of ultimate power, zero hesitation. This death god is absolutely furious, calling him a foolish ant for daring to turn down such a generous job offer. Sumew just smirks back, retorting that even an ant has more backbone than to bow to his sworn enemy. Done with the pleasantries, the boss swings his scythe, but Sumew is weirdly calm about getting deleted. As the blade descends, he is already planning his heroic comeback in 3 seconds. Talk about confidence. But just before impact, a massive beam of holy light blasts down from the heavens, interrupting the execution. This golden energy slams right into the scythe, stopping the death god's attack dead in its tracks. Sumew is completely stunned, having fully expected to get wiped right there and then. Even the death god is shocked, recognizing the power of someone named Michael who is crashing his recruitment drive. He sneers at the unseen savior, questioning if this Michael can actually stop him. Behind our boy, a radiant, multi-winged figure descends in a shower of golden light. It is the Archangel Michael, commander of the Temple Angels Legion, looking like he just stepped out of a different game entirely. Michael tells the death god to go back to hell and winds up a punch radiating pure holy energy. He then unleashes a massive pillar of divine fire, blasting the shadowy entity out of the sky. As his projection fades, the death god vows to return, cursing Sumew to join his temple eventually. Sumew is just stunned, realizing that one blow from the Archangel completely erased the death god's shadow. A quick lore dump explains the whole cosmic war between the temple's gods and the death god's demons. Our boy starts sweating, realizing he did not just summon a god, he also dragged its arch-nemesis into the fight. Oops. This Archangel praises his choice to refuse the death god, and just like that, Sumew can move again. He tries to play it cool with the high-level NPC, but his artifact conveniently hits 100% activation right then. Michael then offers him a legendary quest to become a temple mage, with a to-do list that is just pure suffering. Sumew's jaw absolutely drops, since that title is a huge deal even for max-level players in his past life. Naturally, he accepts the trial, and Michael hands him a glowing necklace as a little welcome to the team gift. He is now holding a very suspicious-looking piece of jewelry with a giant, unblinking eyeball staring back at him. Its item description is a total joke, no stats, no level, just damaged evil dragon necklace and a whole lot of questions. With a final blessing for his powerful path, the Archangel prepares to peace out. As the holy light fades, Sumew is left alone to process the absolute chaos he just caused and survived. Then it clicks, he recognizes the necklace as a piece of the legendary evil dragon armor set. Our boy is absolutely losing it, remembering this set was basically a myth owned by only one player in his past life. He is already dreaming of being invincible but wisely decides to stash the god-tier loot for later. Finally getting back to it, he checks the artifact that started this mess, gaining a new skill called Hand of Death. This new skill is just completely unfair, giving him a 100% damage boost to everything for a full minute. He does the quick math, double damage on normal hits, quadruple on crits, and it is somehow upgradable. Su is literally weeping with joy, so grateful that his second life comes with all the cheat codes enabled. But his happiness dies when he sees the upgrade costs 5 million XP. The price of being awesome is, apparently, a brutal grind. With the chaos over, Su checks his legendary chest, already planning his grind to level 10. He lays out all his new loot, deciding to start with the mysterious tree god's longing item. Touching it summons the glowing green spirit of a tree, which is definitely not in the item description. This now purified tree god thanks him for the assist and offers a hidden quest, kill the godslayer Apophis. Su accepts without hesitation because who turns down a quest from a grateful ghost tree? This new objective conveniently lines up with the trial Michael just gave him, talk about a lucky break. Then we get a sudden ominous cut to outer space with Earth just chilling, completely unaware. But a swirling vortex of pure doom appears because peace was never an option in this universe. This thing is on a direct collision course, packing enough energy to absolutely wreck the planet. It is not a meteor, it is Apophis, the first invader of the apocalypse, and Su gets a terrifying preview. He snaps back to reality, realizing he has to face a weakened version of that monster right now. A server announcement declares another team got the first kill, and Su just scoffs, knowing they missed the real boss. Anyway, back to the important stuff, cracking open the rest of his treasure chests. He opens 2 at once, and the rewards are just a ridiculous waterfall of gold, points, and gear. Our boy is absolutely giddy seeing a universal skill book and that super rare temple prestige pop up. Without a second thought, he instantly learns the new skill, Spiritual Activation. It lets him summon a literal doppelganger in battle with half his stats, which is just completely fair. He then gets all smug about the temple prestige, knowing it is the secret key to unlocking even more quests. This final chest unloads an insane haul of gold, gear, and a brand new title, Demon Slayer. And this title is just perfect for the apocalypse, giving him a massive damage and crit boost against all demons. Su checks his stats, deciding to go full glass cannon and dump everything into magic attack. He teleports out of the god-infested forest, already planning to appraise his new gear back in town. Meanwhile, the rest of the players finally respawn, freaking out that the game almost turned them into real-life vegetables. And just like that, Su pops into the village square, leaving Tink Su-wan and her friend completely stunned. This entire crowd immediately mobs him, offering guild memberships and marriage proposals. Fame is weird. Our boy takes on the leader role, rallying everyone to grind levels and be the first to reach the main city. Over in the real world, some rival nations' leaders are absolutely losing it over not getting the first kill. Their commander literally rips his shirt open in a tantrum, whining that the boss is just too hard for them. Su meanwhile, is back to business, hitting up the alchemist for a boatload of expensive purification potions. She hands over the goods with a blush, thanking him for saving the village and being so handsome. He immediately gets to work, pouring a potion on the creepy eyeball necklace, hyped for his first ever legendary item. With a flash of golden light, the purification is a success, and Su is just basking in his protagonist-level luck. Next up, he pulls out a perfect identification card to finally reveal the necklace's hidden stats. This kid is practically praying to the RNG gods for some game-breaking effects to pop up. And it delivers, revealing a legendary dragon bone chain with insane elemental damage boosts. His new stat sheet is just a wall of broken numbers, showing off his new title and ridiculous power level. Su already planning his next hustle, hit level 10, then start charging noobs for dungeon runs. At that moment, a massive pillar of light smashes down from the sky, signaling the next world-ending event. He looks on with grim determination, knowing exactly what is coming, the god of destruction, Apophis. Some poor random player just sees a meteor, completely oblivious that the apocalypse just landed on his head. This apocalypse kicks off with a massive, fiery explosion that rocks the entire starter village. As the blast wave expands, players scramble for their lives, barely outrunning the inferno. Su just watches, knowing this is a watered-down version. The real deal would have deleted everyone instantly. Panic spreads through the streets as fire engulfs the buildings, and everyone's having flashbacks to the last village-ending event. But just as things look hopeless, a foot stomps down with absolute authority, and the village elder, who was just chilling a second ago, unleashes a massive tidal wave from his bare hands. His epic water magic slams into the apocalyptic fire, dousing the flames in a huge cloud of steam. Some players are just baffled, wondering why this superpowered geezer was eating snacks while they were getting mauled by trees earlier. This elemental clash is intense, with water and fire battling for control of the village square. Suddenly, everyone's a fan, begging the hidden master for a secret quest. Talk about a quick change of heart. This old chief just strokes his beard, pretending to give their desperate pleas some serious thought. Then he shrinks into a chibi and keeps eating melon seeds while announcing the end of the world. The timing is just impeccable. A global announcement interrupts the snack break. Apophis is here and the first dungeon is officially open for business. Su takes it all in, recognizing the ancient wood temple as the game's first major hurdle. His past life memories flash back, confirming that many game locations like this temple have real-world counterparts. He knows revealing these secrets now would just cause chaos, since humanity is not ready for the truth. For now, his only path is to get as broken as possible in-game before his powers manifest in reality. This new dungeon is a real skill check, so he is content to watch the pioneers throw themselves at it for a bit. Deciding he has caused enough chaos for one day, Sumew hits the logout button to get some well-deserved sleep. And just like that, he is back in the real world, the morning sun shining over a totally oblivious city. Sumew wakes up in his room, deciding to check the forums to see how the plebs are handling the new dungeon. These forums are of course a glorious dumpster fire of players complaining the game is too hard and scary. He just smirks at his phone, knowing these whiners have no idea what real horror is about to hit them. A quick check on the world's progress shows everyone is stuck on the first boss, amateurs the lot of them. Satisfied with his morning dose of superiority, he hops back into his high-tech gaming pod and in a flash of light, Sumew logs back into the village, ready to continue his one-man domination tour. Tingsu-wan immediately runs over, stunned that he is already caught up to her at level 9. She offers him a spot on her team to clear the new dungeon, promising she has insider strategies to guide them. Our boy instantly deduces her strategies are just high-level intel from her real-world connections. She just smiles, completely confident that her very generous offer is one he cannot possibly refuse. After a bit of shameless flirting, she sweetens the deal with a 30% cut of all dungeon rewards. He is a little impressed she is willing to reveal her hand just to recruit him, seeing how desperate she is. But then he just turns around and flatly tells her he is not interested, zero hesitation. Tingsu-wan is left completely dumbfounded, unable to process being rejected so casually. He then gives her some free advice, hit level 10 first because they are too weak to even try the dungeon. With a final wave, Sumew walks off to grind alone, leaving her to question his sanity for turning down a dream team. An hour later, the world chat is exploding with players begging him to announce his farming route so they can avoid him. So he starts trolling the entire server, calling out his next target and sending everyone into a panic. And just like that, a global announcement confirms he is the first player to reach level 10, unlocking new features. With the level cap reached, he immediately makes a beeline for the village chief's house. Sumew slams the table, ready to make his first big power move, creating a guild. This old chief is totally on board, casually quoting him a price of 300,000 gold. Our boy balks at the highway robbery, but the chief just shrugs, greatness ain't cheap. Deciding he will not rely on anyone else this time, he smashes the create button without hesitation. He names it Fengshan Valley, complete with a suitably epic vision of himself as a future king. And just like that, a server-wide alert goes out, leaving Tingsu-wan and her team in the dust. Elsewhere, another high-level player takes note, clearly surprised by his sudden move. Even more rivals get the news, grumbling that this upstart beat them to the punch. His inbox immediately explodes with over 999 join requests. Fame is a real burden, you guys. Checking his new guild panel, he sees he is the sole member and plans to use a system reward. He activates the guild's first blessing, scoring a random 24-hour buff with a sweet 5% dodge. Next up, he hits the blacksmith for some id scrolls, smugly saving his perfect one for better gear. This loot is okay, but the boot special effect is a speed boost for running away. How insulting. To get the set bonus, he puts out a world announcement offering big money for the matching helmet. His private messages are a total disaster of fan mail and carry requests, but no actual helmet offers. Then one message pops up from a very enthusiastic shirtless dude, and Sumew is deeply concerned. Finally, a player named Code 13 messages claiming to have the exact helmet he needs. But when Sumew asks the price, the guy just says he is not selling it, pure, unadulterated trolling. After pointing out it is mage-only gear, the guy still refuses to sell, so Sumew just blocks him. Code 13 then offers the helmet for free if he can join the guild, and Sumew absolutely loses his mind at the audacity. And just like that, a system alert confirms Code 13 has joined the guild, so much for high standards. Sumew immediately starts coping, claiming a real man is flexible and he will only recruit top players later. His inner monologue, however, reveals the real plan: take the helmet, then kick the rando. Then Code 13 pops in with maximum cringe energy, and Sumew instantly regrets everything. When the new guy asks why the guild is empty, Sumew just quietly plots his imminent betrayal. But then Code 13 decides the guild needs a cash injection and starts spam donating millions of gold. Our boy's jaw hits the floor as the guild funds skyrocket, completely short-circuiting his brain. Code 13 casually offers to drop 10 million, and suddenly Sumew decides standards are for poor people. After identifying the helmet, he sees it completes a set with a life-saving cheat death ability. Now fully geared up, he is ready for the dungeon, but his new guildmate is absolutely blowing up the chat. Having had enough of the fanboying, Sumew just mutes him for an hour, problem solved. He tells Code 13 he is too low level, so the guy immediately promises to hire a power leveling team. Meanwhile, he sends a dungeon invite to Tingsu-wan, charging her a cool 200,000 gold for a carry. Sumew calls out to her from across the square, asking if she is ready to pay for a guaranteed win. She explains everyone is stuck on the first boss, but he just calls them weak and sets a deadline. With a smug thumbs up, he promises a clear, no questions asked. The confidence is just unreal. She asks about failure and he starts getting flirty with his terms for success instead. He quickly plays it off as a joke before making a tactical retreat, leaving her totally flustered. Half a day later, the team gathers, with Code 13 already eyeing their new high-level teammate. And of course, Code 13 immediately tries to shoot a shot, asking his boss for an introduction. Su-Mew immediately puts his new fanboy to work, telling Code 13 to start advertising their dungeon carry service. And with zero hesitation, Code 13 whips out a megaphone to start spamming the world about their 200k gold taxi service. This server chat immediately calls it a scam, wondering why anyone would pay a level 10 player for a carry. But then a new player steps up, offering to buy both spots for her friends. Business is already booming. With that, two new members join the party, clearly skeptical but trusting their own leader's judgment. Code 13 instantly tries to sweet-talk the new recruits, who look completely unimpressed by his whole vibe. He then asks Su-Mew for permission to show off, and our boy already looks like he is regretting this entire partnership. His big move is to spam the world chat 1,000 times, screaming about how his boss is an invincible god. This rest of the team just stares in horror, realizing this dude just blew 1,000,000 gold on server-wide trolling. With the marketing blitz complete, the newly formed team assembles at the dungeon entrance, ready to go. They all leap into the portal, with Su-Mew looking completely unfazed while everyone else braces for impact. A system alert welcomes them to the temple, warning of ancient, mutated evils lurking in the shadows. Su-Mew immediately silences the group, sensing danger as they creep up the ancient stone steps. Their first obstacle is a classic maze of identical doors, a puzzle designed to trap unwary players forever. One of the new warriors offers to take the lead, asking Su-Mew to just point them in the right direction. She is clearly not happy about paying a lower-level player, calling him out for the ridiculous price tag. He just gives her a smug look and says she is free to leave anytime, but her money is staying right here. Code 13, ever the loyal hype man, jumps in to defend his boss, starting a fight with the new teammate. Ignoring the bickering completely, Su-Mew just tells them to keep up as he effortlessly glides through the maze. And just beyond the puzzle, they find themselves in a nightmarish cavern filled with blood and shadow creatures. Ting-Su-Wan warns them about super-fast blood demons that have apparently wrecked every other team, but Su-Mew just tells them to chill. As long as they do not attack, it is a free pass. And what do you know, the terrifying blood monsters just watch them go by, leaving everyone speechless. After that little horror show, they arrive at yet another classic pick-a-door maze puzzle. Code 13 immediately starts gloating about his boss's genius, while Su-Mew just gets on with it. They enter a hallway filled with skeletons, and someone just has to ask if they are going to reanimate. Right on cue, a skeleton's head twitches with a little rattle, because of course it does. This whole team panics, immediately blaming Code 13 for jinxing them, who looks utterly betrayed. Suddenly, an entire army of level 7 skeleton soldiers rises from the floor, ready for a fight. One of them lunges forward with a massive overhead swing, clearly not here to make friends. With the bony horde charging, the party finally gets into formation to defend themselves. Su-Mew unleashes a devastating wind slash, effortlessly one-shotting the first skeleton to get close. This just seems to make the rest of them very, very angry. Shocking, I know. This warrior woman tanks a huge hit with her shield, yelling for some backup from the mages. Her teammate lobs a fireball into the crowd, doing some decent damage to the bony mob. She holds the line against the swarm, but it is clear she is getting completely overwhelmed. A skeleton's sword gets way too close for comfort, nearly taking her head off. Just in time, the purple-haired mage casts a support spell, giving her a much-needed buff. Her big ice attack freezes the skeletons, but the damage is pathetic, barely scratching them. Now completely surrounded, the warrior woman starts screaming at Su-Mew, calling him a liar for his guaranteed clear. While she is having a full-blown meltdown, Su-Mew just tells her to relax, he has got this. He then steps up to the plate, casually winding up a massive ice spell called Frost Dance. His attack instantly flash freezes a huge chunk of the skeleton army, locking them in place. And for his next trick, he follows up with a literal meteor shower, wiping out the bony horde with ease. This entire party is just stunned silent by the damage numbers, finally realizing this kid might not be a scammer. Su-Mew then explains their elemental weakness and casually tells the team to go pick up all the loot. But the warrior woman absolutely loses it when the system log shows all the drops went directly to him. He just plays innocent, sarcastically complimenting her bravery while the others see right through his act. Code 13 immediately jumps to his defense, telling the ladies their money was well spent, a true simp in action. Their next stop is a massive lava chasm, and the team recognizes it as the dead-end route other parties took. This warrior woman is convinced he is leading them to their doom, yelling at him not to jump. But Su-Mew just asks to borrow her shield, promising he will be back in 5 minutes. He then proceeds to leap into the lava, using the shield to surf across the molten rock like a pro. Tiny lava monsters pop up to attack, but their damage is so pathetic he barely even notices. With a flick of his wrist, he summons ice dragons to clear out the mobs, showing off his insane AI skills. His team just watches from above, totally baffled by how he knows every single monster spawn point. After clearing the area, Su-Mew points his staff at a specific spot in the lava, declaring, "Right here." A hidden item materializes, a fiery core now encased in a crystal of ice, a secret objective. He returns right on time, but the warrior is deeply suspicious, accusing him of hiding treasure from the group. And then Su Mu reveals his prize, a tiny golden chicken, leaving everyone completely clueless about what it does. Their next stop is a frozen wasteland where the game immediately slaps them with a nasty cold debuff. Before they can even complain, a massive ice creature erupts from the ground, sending everyone flying. A spiky horn tears through the surface, promising something absolutely delightful is on its way. And it is a human-faced centipede, an elite boss with a body made of pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel. While the rest of the team is frozen in fear, Su Mu just squares up to the roaring monstrosity. This monster's shriek alone is enough to stagger the party, who are all struggling to stay on their feet. Our boy, however, is already charging in with a fire spell, telling his terrified team to get it together. He lands a solid fire blast right to its creepy face, chunking its health for a cool 3k damage. In response, the centipede opens one of its many mouths and prepares to unleash an ice storm. Its frost breath sweeps over the battlefield, damaging and slowing down the entire party instantly. Having dodged the worst of it, Su Mu announces he's going to kite the boss and draw all the aggro. He then lays out the strategy: no ice spells, and everyone else should aim for its abdomen. Tingsu looks totally out of her element, asking what a support mage is even supposed to do here. Meanwhile, the centipede starts charging up a massive energy blast, aimed right at Su Mu. He knows that one hit from that attack will nearly one-shot him, even with his insane gear. And just to make things spicier, a hidden quest pops up: clear the dungeon without taking any damage. Following his lead, the team attacks the weak spot, stunning the beast for a precious 3 seconds. As the stun timer runs out, Su Mu warns everyone to brace for the monster's incoming rage attack. This warrior woman charges forward, landing a few good hits while the centipede is still reeling. But one of the other guys gets targeted by ice shards and starts screaming, having not even landed a hit yet. This centipede immediately whips up a massive ice tornado as Tingsu yells for everyone to be careful. But Su Mu just tells the team to back off, confirming he has got all the aggro from the boss. He then starts zipping between the cyclones at blinding speed, leaving afterimages in his wake. As the boss fires a volley of ice spikes, Code 13 decides now is the perfect time to roast his boss's suck positioning. With its health dropping fast, the centipede's eyes start glowing red. It is about to get real. Tingsu shouts a warning that the monster is officially entering its berserk phase. And right on cue, it roars and summons an entire swarm of smaller, equally creepy centipedes from the ground. This thing is now glowing with rage, looking even more like something straight out of a horror movie. It then curls into an impenetrable ball, gaining total damage immunity while charging a map-wide ultimate. This warrior woman points out this is where every other team wiped, but Code 13's faith in his boss is unshakable. A massive wave of energy starts pulsing from the boss, signaling the party wipe attack is imminent. Its ultimate goes off in a blinding explosion of ice spikes that looks completely unsurvivable. But Su Mu just smirks and pulls out his secret weapon, that tiny golden chicken from the lava pit. His team can only stare in utter confusion as the little bird just goes goo and starts to glow. Suddenly, it erupts in a flash of light so ridiculously bright it puts the sun to shame. When the light finally fades, the tiny chick has transformed into a colossal, god-tier golden rooster. It spreads its mighty wings, effortlessly blocking the centipede's ultimate with a golden shield. Everyone's jaw hits the floor, finally realizing this chicken was the secret key to the entire fight. With its ultimate countered, the centipede's berserk state ends, leaving it dizzy and totally vulnerable. Seizing the opening, Su Mu blasts it right in its creepy face for a huge chunk of damage. With the boss vulnerable, Su Mu unleashes a massive fire tornado, absolutely incinerating the monster for the win. This centipede explodes into a glorious pile of loot, with a purple-tier item catching everyone's eye. Tingsu immediately calls dibs on the warlock gear, offering a respectable 50,000 gold for it. But then Code 13 jumps in, doubling her bid to 100k for no reason whatsoever. This warrior woman calls him out for bidding on gear he cannot even use, but he is clearly just here to cause problems. His grand excuse is that he wants to gift it to some cute warlock he met, a plan that earns him a legendary eye roll. Su Mu, smelling profit, officially starts an auction, pitting the two against each other in a bidding war. This price skyrockets as they go back and forth, with Tingsu finally hitting a massive 200k gold bid. Code 13 then pauses to ask the most important question: does all this auction money go straight to the boss? And Su Mu just gives him a smug grin, confirming that yes, every single coin is going directly into his pocket. Armed with this knowledge, Code 13 drops an absolutely insane 500k bid just to flex on everyone. Tingsu finally taps out, completely baffled by this dude's willingness to burn 500,000 gold. As they move on, Su Mu is just thinking about the sheer absurdity of the male assassin winning the female warlock gear. Code 13 immediately starts gloating about how right he was, calling the rest of the team weak for ever doubting his boss. Ignoring the bickering completely, Su Mu just walks up to the next glowing door, ready for the next challenge. He pushes it open without a second thought, revealing a blinding light and the path forward. Their next stop is a massive, eerie forest, which is obviously the final boss arena. Su Mu lays out the strategy: no trash mobs, but a special mechanic that requires everyone to stand by a pillar. He then announces he is going to trigger the fight alone, telling them to wait for his signal to act. Our boy calmly walks toward a lonely house in the distance, the apparent trigger for this whole encounter. Inside the creepy house, a system message reveals 48 workers were once sealed here by an evil curse. And over the years, those unfortunate souls apparently merged into one big horrifying entity. Meanwhile, Code 13 is getting jumpy from strange noises and the warrior woman is absolutely loving it. He tries to deny being scared, but she just keeps roasting him for being a total coward. She then goes for the kill, telling him there are ghosts right behind him, a truly masterful troll. Tingsu-wan and her friend are also on edge, confirming the system's warning about the merged workers. Su-mu, completely ignoring the drama, finds himself alone in a dark, ominous room. He can feel something is off as this creepy purple energy swirls all around him. Taking a cautious step forward, the silence in the house is absolutely deafening. And then a sudden noise makes him whip around, instantly ready for a fight. He knows these monsters are intelligent and do not have fixed spawn points, making this extra dangerous. Plus, he is still trying to clear this whole place without taking a single hit for that hidden quest. Right on cue, a horrifying monster face with glowing red eyes lunges out of the darkness to say hello. It is a cursed worker, a mutated human with a special skill called fusion, which sounds delightful. Su-mu barely dodges, one-shotting the creature with a fire blast for over 1,500 damage. With the first one down, he stands over the body, knowing damn well that was not the only one. And what do you know, more of them start pouring out of the doorways as he preps an ice spell. Dozens of them are now sprinting towards him from every direction in a full-on ambush. Suddenly, our boy is completely surrounded by a mob of these cursed workers and his plan is out the window. His face says it all, he was not expecting them to come out all at once. Instead of panicking, Su-mu unleashes a massive ice spell to control the crowd. This attack flash freezes the front line, but he realizes he is trapped inside with the whole horde. With his no-damage quest on the line, he remembers a special skill he has been saving. He activates Energy Surge, doubling his attack power and summoning a perfect mirror clone. Now there are two of them, and Su-mu and his new buddy get ready to dish out some pain. They start blasting fireballs, effectively doubling his kill rate against the weaker mobs. Even with the clones half damage, they are just barely holding back the endless tide of monsters. But his mana bar is draining at an alarming rate. This strategy will not last forever. As another wave of cursed workers closes in, he knows he needs a new plan to succeed. So he turns to his clone with a heartfelt apology. "Bro, I am sorry," which is never a good sign. And then he just boots his own clone directly into the monster swarm like a human sacrifice. This monsters immediately dogpile the clone while Su-mu casually chugs a potion in the back, a true strategist. With the perfect bait in place, he freezes the entire mob solid, triggering the next phase of the fight. All the frozen bodies start getting sucked toward a central point as the game warns him to run. Their shadowy forms begin to merge behind a sealed door in a truly horrifying display. Su-mu realizes the workers can only be killed after they fuse, but he is on a 10-minute timer. He bolts out of the shaking house, noting this mechanic is designed to wipe out weaker parties. Meanwhile, Code 13 is lecturing the warrior woman to just trust the boss and stop worrying. She finally snaps, absolutely roasting him for being the weakest, lowest-level player who talks the most. Right on cue, the house explodes in a massive shockwave, signaling the real boss has arrived. This shadowy forms of the cursed workers begin to writhe and merge into a horrifying mass of limbs. And out of that mess comes the final boss, a mutated fusion entity, a literal pile of bodies with some nasty stats. Everyone is absolutely losing their minds over how disgusting this thing is, and it has a rebirth skill to make things worse. This abomination immediately curls into a ball of pure horror and starts rolling right towards the party. Su-mu does not even flinch, meeting its charge with a fire blast that chunks its health for over 1k damage per hit. He keeps up the pressure from a distance, but notes the boss has high resilience, making crits hard to land. Suddenly, the monster uncurls and tries to pancake him with a giant hand as his team screams a warning. Our boy just counters with another massive fire spell, blasting the hand for a solid 1,400 damage. He quickly dodges back, realizing the monster's blood is corrosive and melts anything it touches. That is when he remembers the pillars. He has to lure the boss to one to stop its insane healing ability. With a new plan in mind, he starts kiting the multi-limbed horror across the battlefield toward his target. He lands another hit while yelling for everyone to avoid the blood since its poison damage cannot be healed. Following the plan, Code 13 starts scrambling up a pillar as the others unleash their attacks from below. Of course, he immediately gets targeted by shadowy tendrils and starts screaming his head off, classic Code 13. This rest of the team is not just standing around, though, as they unleash their own skills to keep the pressure on. Just in the nick of time, Su-mu unleashes a massive ice spell, creating a protective barrier for the team. He just gives them a casual "you are welcome," like saving everyone from certain death is just another Tuesday. His spell completely freezes the boss's attack in midair, leaving Code 13 to stare in total shock. These ice dragons then swirl around the pillar, completely encasing the monster's tendrils in solid ice. His entire team can only watch in awe, once again reminded of the insane power gap between them and their leader. Su-mu keeps kiting the monster, weaving between its massive hands with absolute ease. His team screams for him to dodge, completely forgetting who they are dealing with. But our boy just blurs past its attacks, earning a fastest man title from the game itself. He freezes its limbs solid, then yells for the team to get into position. It is go time. Luring the monster closer, he shouts for the team to spring the trap near the pillars. Following his orders, they all place their hands on the pillars, activating a massive light array. Beams of purple energy shoot into the sky, forming a giant magical seal right above the boss. This massive seal then blasts the monster, trapping the writhing mass in a cage of pure light. This cursed souls inside scream as they are purified by the holy energy, which looks pleasant. Everyone else just stares, completely blown away by the spectacle and wondering if it is finally over. But the warrior woman is the first to notice the boss has a new status effect on it. Turns out the light seal also debuffs the monster, disabling its rebirth skill for a full 30 seconds. With the boss vulnerable, the rest of the team finally jumps into the fight to do some damage. This warrior woman leads the charge, cleaving right into the horrified mass of bodies with her greatsword. A massive meteor spell rains down, racking up insane damage numbers and shredding its health bar. Under the relentless assault, the monster finally crumbles, its body disintegrating into nothing. Code 13 immediately starts celebrating the kill, but the warrior woman notices the corpse is still moving. To everyone's shock, the monstrous form dissolves, revealing the individual cursed workers crawling out. One of the freed souls kneels, thanking the party for saving them from the darkness. Soon, all the former workers are kneeling, offering their last remaining treasures as a reward for their freedom. As a final reward, the freed souls leave behind two massive treasure chests overflowing with loot. Code 13 is absolutely buzzing, pointing out they scored not one but two more purple drops. Sumyu cracks open one of the chests and his reaction is a little flustered, actually. This system announces he has just looted the frosted glass belt and shoes, a matching set. Everyone else is just staring in total disbelief, completely stunned by his insane luck. Code 13 is already gushing about his boss's luck, while Sumyu just sees another auction and more profit, and Code 13 immediately drops another million gold, bidding 500k on each piece without a second thought. He then graciously asks Tingsu Wan if she wants them, but she is completely done with his nonsense. His grand excuse is he was just helping her bid, leaving the team wondering if he even understands how money works. Sumyu is just baffled. The team's only sorceress lost all 3 items, and this Code 13 guy is a total mystery from his past life. With the auction drama finally over, Sumyu just points everyone toward the next challenge. This party descends a creepy, winding staircase heading deeper into the dungeon's depths. Code 13 tries to sound profound, commenting on the creepy murals that depict some ancient monster plague. They arrive in a massive hall where a system message lays out the new rules: complete a trial or face death. These rules are simple: do not look at the boss and enjoy infinite respawns, which Code 13 immediately calls a welfare zone. This warrior woman is absolutely fuming, roasting Code 13 for his big mouth, but he just ignores her and asks Sumyu for the plan. Sumyu just gives them a grim look, explaining that on this level he cannot help them at all. He then clarifies that infinite respawns means infinite deaths, telling them to just enjoy the experience as their faces drop. Right on cue, the system confirms the infinite death penalty as dust serpents start erupting from the floor. Sumyu orders a full-force AI assault, and Code 13 has the sudden, horrifying realization that he does not have any classic. This rest of the team unleashes a beautiful, coordinated assault on the snake monsters, but the serpents just start regenerating health, completely ignoring the damage. Sumyu realizes their healing is too strong and he cannot one-shot them without a crit, so he just decides to rain down a literal meteor shower to overwhelm them with pure firepower. Code 13, full of confidence, tries to take one on solo and immediately gets wrapped up. And then he gets slapped so hard his face nearly turns inside out, a truly valiant effort. Meanwhile, Tingsu Wan actually saves a teammate from getting torn apart, earning some well-deserved praise. With the first wave finally down, the team looks on as the snake bodies crumble to dust. All that dust then starts swirling into a massive sand tornado in the center of the room. From the vortex emerges the real boss, the faceless serpent queen, and she looks thrilled to be here. Her eyes flash and Sumyu screams for everyone not to look, but it is already too late for the warrior woman. This whole party gets hit with an unhealable poison dot that also paralyzes them completely. Code 13 is the first to drop, getting zapped by a beam from her eyes and screaming his lungs out. Soon the entire team is writhing on the ground, their health bars just melting away. One guy revives thanks to the infinite respawn rule, only to immediately die again. It is a feature, not a bug. They are all trapped in a horrifying loop of death and rebirth, unable to fight back at all. Sumyu, the only one unaffected, grabs them and tells them to close their eyes and get back. He then smugly asks how they are enjoying the fun, and Code 13 instantly begs to be carried. Looking down, Sumyu warns them to get ready because the boss is about to transform. This serpent queen looms over them, ordering them to open their eyes and face the real battle. This faceless serpent queen's stats pop up, revealing she is an elite monster with a ton of health. The team is not happy. Sumyu tells everyone to keep their distance, but Code 13 admits he has 0 range skills. Great start, buddy. With the plan set, the team scatters and starts launching spells as the warrior woman dodges a massive tail swipe. Tingsu Wan lands a solid hit, chipping away at the boss's health and celebrating her small victory. In response, the queen just opens her mouth and unleashes a massive spray of deadly poison everywhere. Sumyu immediately screams a warning for everyone to dodge the incoming poison cloud. He starts barking orders, telling the warrior to protect the healer while literally kicking Tingsu-wan out of the way. Following his command, the warrior woman slams her sword down, creating a huge shield to block the toxic spray. His other teammates are not so lucky, getting completely drenched in the poison and taking damage. Meanwhile, Code 13 finds himself cornered against a wall with absolutely nowhere to run, a familiar position for him. Just then, Su-mu activates a psychic skill, creating a blue energy projection to shield Tingsu-wan. His projection tanks the hit while he unleashes a massive fireball that slams right into the Serpent Queen's face. He then orders his clone to provide ice support, telling Tingsu-wan to keep up the pressure. With the boss distracted, the entire party charges forward, their attacks enhanced by a flurry of ice shards. This combined assault absolutely shreds the boss's health bar, which is finally starting to drop. But the Serpent Queen's eyes begin to glow, signaling she is about to use another nasty skill. Tingsu-wan realizes what is coming next, the dreaded Myriad Serpent's curse, and it is not good. A literal tidal wave of green energy snakes erupts from her, swarming towards the terrified party. Everyone starts freaking out as the snakes close in, with the warrior woman screaming about her phobia of crowds. Su-mu remembers this skill being super rare in his past life, realizing he needs a new strategy to counter this endless curse. Su-mu's grand strategy involves making a clone and declaring someone's about to be a sacrifice. Uh-oh. He then literally dropkicks his own clone at the boss, calling it a human cannon. A bold move, Cotton. His clone sails headfirst into the Serpent Queen, who seems more confused than anything else. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is just losing their minds over their leader's yeet the teammate tactic. With the clone latched onto the boss's face, Su-mu yells for everyone to attack its weak point. This clone then detonates in a massive icy explosion, racking up thousands of damage points in seconds. Visibly annoyed, the Serpent Queen just watches the clone shatter into a million frozen shards. Su-mu immediately jumps back into the fight, ordering everyone to focus all their firepower on the boss. He is now weaving through a sea of green snakes, knowing one hit will fail his hidden mission. But the swarm quickly closes in, leaving him with absolutely nowhere left to dodge. Cornered and out of options, he decides to gamble everything on one last massive fireball. He unleashes the spell right into the horde, hoping to finish off the boss's last bit of health. Just then, a single snake lunges for his face, its fangs reflected in his terrified eyes. His team starts screaming his name, desperately trying to launch their own spells to save him. But our boy just casually freezes the snake solid an inch from his face, because of course he does. His fireball finally connects, smashing into the Serpent Queen for a whopping 2,400 damage. As the Queen's body starts to dissolve, the cursed snakes surrounding Su-mu also begin to fade away. This whole team just watches in relief as the boss and her minions turn into harmless green dust. In their place, two massive sparkling loot drops appear on the ground, signaling victory. And the system confirms the haul, a ton of crimson refined stones for the party. With the fight over, Su-mu just smirks about his luck, while Tingsu-wan is still recovering from the sheer terror. He gives his hooded teammate a well-deserved head pat for being so reliable, then immediately turns his attention to the loot. Code 13 has no idea what the shiny red rocks are, so Su-mu explains they are priceless enhancement materials you cannot even buy. Just as they are admiring the haul, a massive rumbling from above makes everyone look up in alarm. At the far end of the hall, a massive stone door starts to materialize out of thin air. This massive door then slowly grinds open, revealing a dark and ominous passage into the next area. A strange blue mist pours out from the entrance, and the whole party cautiously steps forward to investigate. This system confirms this is the final level with a very simple rule: worship the statue or get deleted, no pressure. But Su-mu's face goes grim, remembering this place from his past life as the source of a horrific massacre. Code 13 then asks if the boss is tired from carrying them for 3 levels, and if they are expected to do the 4th, which he immediately follows up by admitting they could not even clear the first level on their own. Seeing his team is a mess, Su-mu tells everyone to take a break and wait for their cooldowns since there is no time limit here. Then Code 13, ever the gentleman, orders the long-legged sorceress to give Su-mu a massage because he is tired. This warrior woman is having none of it, ready to defend Tingsu-wan's honor, but Code 13 just argues back. To everyone's shock, Tingsu-wan actually gives him the massage, thinking Code 13 is a total moron, but a useful one. Meanwhile, Code 13 has moved on to his next target, calling the warrior woman a witch and starting a chase. With their breakover, the entire party steps into what looks like a massive waterfall of pure energy. They arrive on a stormy peak to find the grand statue is now headless, and Code 13 realizes the system totally scammed them. Lightning flashes across the sky, illuminating the massive headless statue that was supposed to be their final trial. Code 13 is so freaked out he is hiding behind Su-mu, who immediately calls him out for being a coward. Classic. Just as they are processing the headless statue, a massive demonic claw rips right out of the ground. This entire platform shatters as a huge winged beast starts to emerge from the rubble. It is a terrifying black dragon, and it looms over the party like a harbinger of doom. This thing is absolutely crackling with power, looking every bit the final boss they were promised. Its stats are all unknown, but Su-mu recognizes it. This is his legendary mount from his past life. This dragon demands to know if they are devotees, and Code 13 immediately starts sucking up. Yes sir, biggest fans right here. With tears of blood, the dragon orders them to avenge its master and kill all invaders without mercy. Then it offers them a baptism, firing beams of pure energy straight at the party. Turns out, baptism means a massive stat buff, and Code 13 feels invincible until Su Mu tells him he is still useless. Su Mu realizes the real enemy is an alien named Apophis, and the mechanics here are so complex one mistake means a team wipe. A system message confirms it is the final battle. Stop Apophis or the entire continent is doomed. While Code 13 is just screaming for blood, Su Mu knows he has to play this perfectly for his hidden mission. Out of nowhere, a colossal, glowing sword materializes in the sky above them. And it is aimed directly at the black dragon's head, which looks up to meet its fate. This blade slices down in a flash, cleaving right through the dragon's neck. Its attack unleashes a massive shockwave of ice and light over the entire arena. This dragon is instantly decapitated in a single, brutal strike. Its headless body just stands there for a moment, a monument to the sudden execution, and the entire party gets a nice, warm shower of dragon blood, leaving them completely stunned. Behind the corpse, the true enemy finally appears. The destroyer star Apophis has arrived. This team realizes the Black Dragon's final barrier is the only thing that saved them from being instantly deleted. His party immediately starts arguing, insisting they are strong enough to fight with him, a very recent development. Su Mu is actually touched by their sudden courage, wistfully thinking how great it would be if everyone could unite like this. But then he just orders them to stay put and leaps out of the protective bubble to face the boss solo. He lands ready for a fight, knowing a perfect no-damage clear for his mission means he cannot rely on them at all. And Apophis's stats pop up, revealing it is a level 100 alien with millions of health, totally reasonable for a tutorial. Back in the safety zone, the team is absolutely losing their minds since they are all barely level 7. Tingsu Wan spots a crucial debuff. The dragon's last attack left Apophis with a 90% stat reduction for 30 minutes. They also notice a true damage effect, which means Su Mu will feel 100% of the pain from any hit he takes. Apophis looms over our boy, smelling the scent of death on him and demanding to know who he is. It then calls his teammates foolish and declares that all humans are nothing more than food. Su Mu just smirks back, confidently stating that he is more than enough to handle this thing alone. In response, Apophis calls him weak and arrogant while summoning a ridiculously oversized energy sword. This alien swings its massive blade down to crush him as Su Mu braces for the devastating impact. Its attack shatters the platform, unleashing a shockwave of lightning and debris across the entire arena. But Su Mu is already weaving through the chaos, effortlessly dodging the storm of flying rocks. He then unleashes a barrage of fireballs that slam into the boss, racking up thousands of damage points. Annoyed, Apophis just rips a boulder from the ground and hurls it at him, demanding a real fight. Su Mu casually surfs on another rock, planning to kite the boss using his past life knowledge of its weak spots. From behind cover, he prepares another spell, getting ready to launch a surprise attack on the distracted alien. His surprise ice attack connects, shattering across Apophis and dealing thousands of damage. This alien is absolutely furious, calling Su Mu a despicable and cunning human for the cheap shot. In retaliation, it unleashes a massive whirlwind of red energy slashes across the entire platform. From their bubble, his team freaks out, knowing he will feel 100% of the pain if that hits. Just then, a server-wide announcement broadcasts their fight, letting everyone know Su Mu is at the final boss. Other players are completely floored, since most of them have not even cleared the first level yet. This whole battle is now a national pride event, with Su Mu breaking every single server record. Meanwhile, some stuffy officials from a rival country are in disbelief that he has made it this far. One of them literally kicks a monitor in a tantrum, calling his own people worthless, a real class act. His brilliant solution is to just buy Su Mu, offering a 500 million salary to get him to switch sides. This guy is so arrogant he is already picturing Su Mu bowing down to serve his nation. And he is not alone, other countries are starting a bidding war with billions and even 100 actresses. Back in the arena, Apophis stands alone amidst the total wreckage of its own ultimate attack, but Su Mu knows the skill's secret. It is a ground-based attack with no damage mechanism in the water, so he just casually dives into the surrounding pool, completely avoiding the deadly shockwave. His teammates are still watching in terror, wondering if their leader somehow survived that onslaught. Tingsu Wan checks the party screen, pointing out his health bar is still completely full. He is fine. Our boy is just gracefully swimming underwater, having perfectly dodged the entire devastating attack. He knows this ultimate leaves Apophis staggered, creating the perfect window for a counterattack. Leaping from the water, he unleashes a meteor shower that rains down on the vulnerable boss. Apophis slams its sword into the ground, clearly not happy about the whole swimming lesson. It then unleashes the exact same ultimate attack again, and Su Mu realizes the game is officially cheating. This new shockwave sends him flying back into the water, wondering if the devs secretly cranked up the difficulty just for him. But now a spectral version of Apophis is hunting him underwater, because why not add a ghost shark to the mix? Our boy is now in a frantic underwater chase, trying to outswim a very angry alien ghost. He is holding his breath for dear life, both in-game and in his pod, because his perfect clear mission is on the line. With his lungs about to burst, he is desperately telling himself not to give up on his long-cherished wish. Finally, he erupts from the surface, gasping for that sweet, sweet virtual air. Apophis is already winding up another swing, a move Su Mu knows is completely new and almost cost him everything. Scrambling back onto the platform, he immediately launches a volley of fireballs to buy some time. His attack triggers a special equipment effect, a flash that makes the boss's physical attacks miss for 5 seconds. Talk about lucky. This blinded alien swings wildly, absolutely furious at the annoying human ant who just will not die. Su Mu uses that 5-second window to just unload everything he has, blasting the boss point blank. With the effect over, he gives himself a little thumbs up, ready to switch back to hit-and-run tactics. From the safety bubble, his team is completely in awe, with Ting-Su-Wan wondering if he is destined to rule the apocalypse. Elsewhere, a powerful woman muses that while this is a game, her country's investment means it is much more, and she needs to decide her role. Back in the fight, another meteor shower slams into Apophis, chipping away more of its massive health bar. His teammates are now his biggest cheerleaders, screaming for him to charge and planning their victory post. Apophis, now wreathed in flames, scoffs at the foolish humans, questioning if they actually think they can win. Then it begins to power up, promising to show them its ultimate form and bring them true despair. Apophis begins its world-destroying transformation, which looks about as subtle as a supernova. This transformation creates a massive vortex of pure destructive energy, pulling in everything around it. Its power-up alone shatters the entire arena, boiling the surrounding water with sheer force. From their bubble, the team freaks out, realizing this new attack is a map-wide AO with no escape. Then their protective bubble disappears, and they realize Su Mu is totally exposed to that nightmare. Ting-Su-Wan checks the party screen, and Code 13 immediately screams hacker because Su Mu's health is still full. She points out his name is still active, meaning the guy somehow dodged a literal world-ending attack. And there it is, Apophis's final form, looking like it just walked off a heavy metal album cover. This boss scoffs at the foolish humans, because of course it has to monologue about its superiority. With the smoke clearing, the party looks around, completely unable to find the boss anywhere. Turns out Apophis is kneeling and wounded, cursing the black dragon for leaving it with that massive debuff. Suddenly, a voice from above taunts the alien lord, calling it a worthless being. His team frantically searches for him, ecstatic that their leader somehow survived the unsurvivable. And there is Su Mu just chilling on a tiny rock directly under the boss, completely untouched. His teammates finally get it. The most dangerous spot right under the boss was the only safe zone. Su Mu and a clone then get ready to attack from below, preparing to hit the boss's blind spot. He activates his Hand of Death skill, instantly doubling all his damage for the counterattack. Both of them unload a storm of spells, hammering Apophis's legs and torso with huge damage numbers. In a flash, the boss's massive health bar plummets straight to 0. But even as it falls, Apophis spouts some final words about how humans just do not get it. Standing on the defeated boss's head, Su Mu asks what right these alien rulers have to invade his world. With a look of pure contempt, he calls the mighty alien lord nothing more than a joke. He then slams his staff into the ground, delivering the final explosive coup de grace. But Apophis gets in one last threat, promising they will meet again, because of course it does. A massive beam of light then vaporizes the alien's body in a very flashy finisher. When the light fades, all that is left is a single pillar and a whole lot of silence. Su Mu just poses in the heavenly glow, looking every bit the prophesied hero he is supposed to be. His team is absolutely losing it, with Code 13 screaming and Ting-Su-Wan marveling at the no-damage clear. This boss's corpse finally dissolves into a shower of purple particles. It is loot o'clock, baby. And what a loot drop it is, a whole mountain of treasure chests just for them. Code 13 immediately tries to buy the best gear ever, the businessman even in victory. A system message then confirms their win, listing a perfect kill on every single boss in the dungeon. This final scores roll in D ranks for the cheerleaders and an SSS rank for Su Mu, obviously. This victory triggers a global announcement, and players all over the world stop in their tracks. Some are even getting mauled by monsters while reading about Su Mu's impossible feat. Even well-organized raid teams are stunned by the news of the server's first kill. This global chat absolutely explodes, with players either praising, questioning, or trying to poach him. Back in town, one guy is having a full-blown meltdown over not joining Su Mu's party earlier. This team finally disbands, all of them exhausted but victorious, ready to log out. Ting-Su-Wan gives Su Mu a final, lingering look before waving goodbye for now. After that insane dungeon clear, we cut to the real world, the Imperial capital at night. Ting-Su-Wan logs out, absolutely drained but victorious in her ridiculously fancy gaming chair. As she gets up to stretch, her phone starts buzzing off the hook on the table. She scrolls through a flood of messages from coworkers praising her and grilling her about her connection to Su Mu. Deciding she is way too tired for guild politics, she just ignores the calls and hops in the shower. But back in the game, Su Mu gets a post-credit scene on the battlefield where a voice calls out to him. He turns around, completely baffled by who could possibly still be here. It is the soul of the Black Dragon, thanking him for avenging its master before it fades away for good. This dragon explains its long history and offers one final reward for his service. A piece of legendary, damaged evil dragon armor materializes in front of him, not a bad parting gift. With its duty fulfilled, the dragon's spirit finally dissipates into the sky. Su Mu logs out for real this time, opening his eyes in his pod and thinking about the dragon's final words. He stretches, ready to enjoy a moment of peace before heading to the main city where the real chaos begins. This next day, he is right back in the game, spawning into a quiet town square. First up is opening that server-first treasure chest, which unleashes an avalanche of insane rewards. His private messages are already exploding with Code 13 freaking out about the job offers. One country even sent a catalog of women. Sumyu just ignores the spam and equips his new level 10 gear, checking out his upgraded stats. He also finds a mysterious map fragment pointing to some powerful evil, which he pockets for later. Then he pulls out the dragon armor, ready to use a special scroll to identify his second legendary set. Elsewhere in town, Tingsu-wan is also logged in, looking a bit hesitant about what to do next. Meanwhile, Tingsu-wan gets a call from her boss right after her shower, ready for new instructions. This guy sitting in his evil villain chair gives her a critical mission involving Su-Mu's future. He orders her to join the Fengshen Valley Guild, a move she seems to have been dreading. This boss then tells her to gain Su-Mu's trust by any means necessary. Yeah, we all know what he means. Back in the game, she gets a message from Su-Mu welcoming her, but she looks incredibly conflicted. Su-Mu knows his big win attracted her corporate backers, wondering if this is a blessing or a curse. He sends her a private message, basically saying, "I know you are a spy, do not you dare betray me." She replies that she understands, promising to use her company's power to help the guild. Code 13 absolutely loses his mind over her joining, changing his name to Dark God in a fit of pure cringe. Su-Mu summons them to the guild hall and his two teammates immediately teleport in. Dark God instantly starts hitting on her, asking if she thinks his new name is cool. It is not. He then tries to make her third sister in their little family, and she is visibly uncomfortable. Su-Mu mercifully cuts him off and asks the group to decide on a main city to travel to. This game world is absolutely massive, with cities based on all sorts of ancient cultures. Tingsu-wan suggests a popular sorcerer city, while Code 13 just vows to follow his boss anywhere. But Su-Mu drops a bombshell. He has decided they are going to Winter City in the Kunlun Mountains. Tingsu-wan immediately points out that Winter City is an SSS-level danger zone on the official website. She explains you cannot even teleport there. It is a perilous journey that could completely waste your account. Su-Mu just gives a smug little smile, saying he already knows all of this. Of course he does. She keeps trying to warn him about the risks, and he can tell her concern is not just an act this time. Su-Mu hits her with the classic high-risk, high-reward speech, and she is just not having his stubborn attitude. She finally gives up and leaves, while Su-Mu tells Code 13 they are leaving tomorrow, after a quick thought about how women slow him down. Code 13 is busy admiring his boss's focus, while also reporting that the whole world is now calling Su-Mu a traitor. After that drama, the village chief congratulates him for completing the main quest, handing over a fat stack of rewards and an SSS rank. He also gets a disguising cube, which is perfect for a guy who just made himself the world's biggest target. This game then offers him the main quest to head to a major city, and he immediately accepts the SSS-level death trap. Standing in the empty square, he gives himself a big speech about how this game is the key to surviving the real apocalypse. With a look of pure intensity, he thinks about all the foreign powers trying to poach him. So he makes a world announcement, publicly declaring his loyalty to his home country and telling everyone else to back off. We then cut to the real world, a sprawling modern city where the stakes are a lot higher than just a game. Su-Mu leans back in his chair, finally relaxing and wondering how his parents are doing. Right on cue, he gets a message from his dad with a money transfer and an excuse about being busy at a research site. He texts back that he is fine, remembering how his parents sacrificed themselves for him in his past life. Now he is just chilling with a snack, watching other players stream their dungeon runs and gear upgrades. Our boy is already analyzing the game's economy, noting how different industries are forming among the player base. Elsewhere, the powerful woman from before is also doing her homework, analyzing main city choices with a glass of wine. She takes a sip, clearly contemplating her next big move in this high-stakes game. With the whole world of Apocalypse to choose from, she wonders where she should establish her base of operations. Back in the game, someone is logging in, ready to jump into the chaos. And it is Su-Mu, immediately getting showered with even more rewards for his perfect clear, including a cross-class skill book. He checks out his new skill book, which turns out to be a massive sorcerer heal, a perfect cross-class pickup. Next up is that disguising cube, because being the world's most famous player is a bit of a problem. This cube activates, and he figures if he is getting a new face, he might as well make it a handsome one. And there is the final result, a slick new look as he reintroduces himself as Mu Shen. At that moment, Dark God rushes over, ecstatic that his boss is finally back online. This guy immediately starts flexing his new, fully enhanced purple gear set, looking incredibly proud. But he is completely baffled by the new face until Su-Mu explains it is just a disguise anyone can get. His jaw then drops at Su-Mu's legendary armor, making his own expensive set feel like a joke. Su-Mu just gives him a smug little smile and says, "No, you cannot get it." Then our boy notices Dark God's gear is all +9, absolutely floored by how much money that must have cost. Dark God starts whining about the scammy enhancement system, admitting he blew a fortune and broke gear. Su-Mu just calls rich people foolish and tells him it is time to head to the teleportation array. This prompts a whole monologue from Dark God about how his boring rich life had no meaning before Su-Mu. The sheer cringe of this bootlicking is physically painful for Su-Mu, who just tells him to shut up. Just then, Tingsu-wan teleports in, and Su-Mu seems genuinely surprised she decided to come. Dark God immediately tries to play matchmaker, calling her third sister and pointing out the boss's new look. She reveals a new ice-themed outfit, explaining Dark God gifted it to her, so now she has to join them. This sends Dark God into a shipping frenzy, already calling her his future sister-in-law, much to Su-Mu's annoyance. Now fully equipped as a healer, she officially rejoins the team and Su-Mu welcomes her back. With the party finally assembled, the three of them prepare to set off for the deadly Winter City. This game officially locks in their choice, confirming the SSS-level death trap that is Winter City. With a quick flash of light, the team teleports and rematerializes in a frozen, desolate wasteland. System messages immediately welcome them to the perilous journey ahead, and Dark God is already complaining about the cold. More pop-ups detail the region's deadly history, basically advertising all the ways they are about to die. After accepting the main quest, Dark God marvels at the hyperrealistic environment, right down to the feeling of frostbite. Su-Mu, however, is busy checking his skills and finds a brand new one called Hand of Death, which looks incredibly ominous. But of course it requires a whole grocery list of rare items to upgrade and activate. What a total gacha scam. Just then, Dark God's detection skill goes off, warning them that they have been targeted less than a minute after arriving. A massive level 13 snow wolf immediately lunges at them, clearly not a fan of tourists. Before anyone can even move, a massive wind slash one-shots the beast out of nowhere. This attack came from a new guy with a giant sword who smirks and mentions Mu Shen by name. This level 14 player poses with his comically large weapon, looking way too pleased with himself. He monologues about how lucky he is to have found them, acting like they are all best buds now. Then the friendly facade drops as he tells them they do not actually get a choice in what happens next. At his command, a whole army of players emerges from the snow, completely surrounding our trio. Tingsu-wan realizes these guys must have skipped early content to power level out here in the wilderness. Su-Mu, completely unfazed, just asks if this is a standard, unoriginal highway robbery. Their leader explains they are all stuck and need a suicide squad to clear a monster-infested path for them. When Su-Mu agrees to help, the guy calls him smart before revealing there is a pretty big catch. He then makes a disgusting offer: let Tingsu-wan play with his crew, and he will consider letting them pass. This ambush crew starts laughing, making some truly classy comments about Tingsu-wan's appearance. Su-Mu then turns to Tingsu-wan, asking her to make a little sacrifice, and she just agrees. But the sacrifice is for their leader, as Su-Mu offers a challenge: survive one fireball and they will cooperate. His crew absolutely loses it, mocking the weak level 11 mage for even trying to scratch their boss. This leader gets right in his face, screaming that a newbie could not possibly take him down. So Su-Mu's little fireball hits for over 5,000 damage, instantly vaporizing the guy's entire upper body. All that is left is a pair of smoking boots and a comical ghost flying out, a perfect one-shot. His minions are just frozen in disbelief, completely unable to process how their boss just got deleted. Su-Mu then calmly explains how PK works, basically threatening to turn them all into loot piñatas. Their leader responds, already screaming about reporting Su-Mu for cheating. Except he respawned right next to his killer, and Su-Mu grabs him by the face before he can even move. Another fireball goes off point blank and the guy's head explodes for a second time in under a minute. Now the rest of the squad is panicking, realizing they are trapped with a monster who just double-killed their leader. Before they can decide to run, Su-Mu leaps into the air and unleashes a massive ice spell. This ice shards rain down, shredding the entire group into frozen bits, a complete party wipe. He respawns again only to find Su-Mu waiting with another fireball ready to continue the lesson. This whole crew materializes around him, trapped in a brutal respawn loop with no escape. We just see a stream of their souls flying away as Su-Mu farms them for kills over and over. After who knows how many deaths, the remaining players are on their knees, finally begging him to stop. Even their leader is groveling, while onlookers realize this is the infamous Blade of Slaughter getting absolutely dismantled. Su-Mu just watches the guy grovel, asking if he is finally ready to talk like a civilized person. This dude immediately launches into a sob story about being a victim whose old boss took all the women. With his team listening, Su-Mu dryly observes that this explains their 100-man sausage fest of a party. Dark God puts a knife to the guy's throat, telling him to kneel properly, which gets him to spill the real intel. Realizing this mob of players would make excellent cannon fodder, Su-Mu agrees to lead them through the map. Now with a whole army of meat shields, the newly formed group heads deeper into the mountains. Their new guide warns him about elusive snow pythons, while another guy smirks, waiting for Su-Mu to fail. This rest of the recruits are whispering amongst themselves, totally unconvinced this kid can guarantee their safety. So Su-Mu lays down 3 simple rules: obey him, do not die, and do not run away, no pressure guys. To sweeten the deal, he dangles guild membership, promising buffs, gear, and even monthly gold dividends. Then he plays his ultimate trump card, appointing Tingsu-wan as the future social events manager. This works a little too well, as the entire crowd goes wild, suddenly desperate to join for the girls. With morale successfully manipulated, Su-Mu organizes them into squads and leads the charge forward. As they march in a long line, they pass some seriously creepy snake skins hanging from the trees. Su-Mu suddenly holds up his hand to stop, and the new guys immediately start panicking about ambushes. He orders the mages to blast a seemingly empty patch of snow, leaving them completely baffled. But they follow his command, unleashing a massive volley of fireballs into the harmless-looking snowbank. And surprised, the explosions reveal a whole pack of hidden snow pythons with a nasty ice armor buff. Without missing a beat, Su orders the archers to use explosive arrows to push the monsters back. He masterfully coordinates the attack, having mages and archers work together to break their defenses. This combined assault works perfectly, bathing the pythons in a sea of fire and explosions. Their supposedly tough ice armor cracks and shatters under the relentless fiery barrage. With the snakes now vulnerable, Su gives the order for the melee fighters to charge in and finish the job. One of the assassins gives him a big thumbs up, totally impressed with the strategy that let them get easy kills. After the battle, the entire army of former thugs is now cheering for their new captain, completely converted. Su calls it a day, telling his new minions to be online at 10 sharp tomorrow for round 2. This former leader then awkwardly asks for his dropped belt, and Su just trolls him about the +9 upgrade. Just as he is about to log off, a horned warrior NPC approaches, asking if he has seen her husband. She explains he was taken by the Snow Python King, and Su brain immediately flashes with hidden quest. Internally, he knows he has to play this perfectly because acting too eager will lock him out of the storyline. So he puts on a show, acting like a weak mage who is scared of the danger until she offers a valuable reward. She tries to hand him a scroll, but he launches into a grand speech about his duty to slay evil. What an actor. He reluctantly accepts the red rarity map anyway and asks for clues on the king's whereabouts. This NPC points toward a distant, frozen peak, telling him that is where the monster's lair should be. They arrive to find a massive, creepy pit in the ice surrounded by bones, which is never a good sign. But inside the pit is a giant, glowing blade called the Sword of the Sun. Hello, legendary loot. While she worries about her missing husband, Su is probably just eyeing up that sweet new weapon. Their moment is cut short as they both sense a massive presence creeping up right behind them. A colossal ice tail smashes down from above, ambushing them with the subtlety of an avalanche. And there it is, the level 20 Snow Python King, an elite monster ready for a boss fight. This horned warrior NPC immediately goes on the offensive, calling the giant snake a beast. She charges forward with a fiery slash, screaming for the monster to return her husband. In response, the Python King just spits a smaller, purple snake ghost right at her, which is weird. With a clean slice, she bisects the bizarre snake projectile before it can even touch her. Su warns her another one is coming while he charges up a fireball of his own. His fireballs pepper the boss's face, but the damage numbers are pretty pathetic against its armor. Su internal monologue confirms the strategy, hit it in the mouth to break its insane defenses. But the Snake King breathes out a frost mist, instantly freezing Su solid for 3 seconds. This warrior NPC dives in just in time, blocking a fatal blow meant for our frozen solid hero. Now thawed, Su tells her to hang on because this is the perfect opening he needed. He moves in for the kill, but the snake is already wise to his plan and closes its mouth. Except Su got a backup, activating his Grim Reaper's hand for a massive power boost. His powered-up form launches a supercharged fireball straight down the monster's gullet. This causes a massive internal explosion, shattering its ice armor and chunking 20,000 HP. With its defenses down, Su unleashes a rain of fire and the damage numbers just go wild. Seeing her chance, the warrior NPC leaps into the air for the final decisive strike. She lands right on its head and plunges her glowing sword straight through the beast's eye. This giant snake thrashes in agony, its weak point brutally and personally exploited. And with one last shudder, the massive Snow Python King is officially declared dead. Standing over the colossal corpse, the warrior finally breathes a sigh of relief, the battle won. Refusing to give up, the warrior NPC screams that she still has not found her husband. With a final cry, she plunges her sword deep into the snake's corpse, determined to find him. She literally starts carving through the massive beast, searching for any sign of her lost love. And then, with a look of grim relief, she finally spots what she was looking for inside. Kneeling before her husband's remains, she has her tragic reunion inside a dead monster's gut. In a flashback, she monologues about their unbreakable bond while holding a glowing blue sword. Su watches on, thinking how this story is definitely not getting a happy ending. She thanks him for his help and makes one final request, which Su already seems to expect. Her wish is to be buried with her husband, and she prepares to end her own life to join him. Our boy Su is actually moved, witnessing their devotion to be together in life and death. He honors her request, standing over their grave on a snowy peak and wishing them peace. After his moment of reflection, the system rewards pop up hello massive loot drop. He scores 2 single-use skill scrolls, one for a huge AI attack and another for a temporary power-up. Su logs off, grateful for the epic gear from the tragic NPC love story, a fair trade. Back in the real world, he is chilling on his couch when an unknown number starts calling him. He answers, and it is someone from the Empire calling to reward him for his national loyalty. They have already tracked him down and casually dropped that 30 million has been sent to his account. This caller then offers to handle a woman named Jiang Wan if she is causing him any trouble. Yikes. Su is stunned because the person who saved him in his past life was also named Jiang Wan. This triggers a flashback to a chaotic battlefield with someone desperately calling for a healer. In the past, Su is on the verge of death with someone desperately screaming for a healer. A hand glowing with green energy presses against his chest, casting a powerful healing spell. Through his blurry vision, he recognizes the woman who saved him from an evil creature before. This is Jiangwan, who tells him to rest while he is just internally commenting on how beautiful she is. He tries to thank her, but she is immediately called away to deal with another monster attack. She leaves with a kind blessing, and Su Mu is convinced he has just met an actual angel. Back in the present, he has a massive facepalm moment, realizing Tingsu Wan and Jiang Wan are the same person. So he makes a vow: since she saved him in his past life, he will protect her in this one. Logging back into the game, Su Mu spawns in the snowy mountains, ready for round 2. Except he is completely alone, wondering where his 100-man army of meat shields disappeared to. A quick check of his friends list reveals only Dark God is online, never a good sign. Suddenly, his private messages explode with panicked texts from Dark God, who says they have all been killed. This frantic messages keep flooding in, explaining a massive guild ambushed them at the resurrection point. Su Mu is genuinely confused, wondering who would be dumb enough to target him specifically. Dark God finally reveals the name of the attackers. It is the Madman Guild again. His new recruits are being spawn-camped, losing gear, and half of them have already rage-quit. Just as Su Mu's getting pissed about his new army's morale getting trashed, Wan Shen logs in. He explains the situation, and she is immediately ready to go kill everyone. Love that for her. Meanwhile, at the resurrection point, Dark God has been captured trying to send his warning. This Madman Guild's leader is literally using one of Su Mu's guys as a chair, ordering his men to entertain their prisoner. This Madman Guild is having a blast beating on Dark God, with their leader ordering them to keep him alive for the fun of it. This guild leader then tries to humiliate him, demanding he publicly trash-talk Su Mu to save his own skin. Meanwhile, Su Mu and Wan Shen watch from a distance, and while she is ready for murder, he is calculating the cost. And that calculation ends with a very simple, very terrifying conclusion: he is going to make them regret being born. So he drops a cool 10,000 gold on a duel order, which locks both sides into a 2-hour no-escape deathmatch. In the team chat, his battered recruits are losing hope, but Su Mu just gives one simple order: kill the warlocks first. Then he whips out that reward scroll from the tragic love story, instantly learning a massive new AoE fire spell. When they finally arrive, the Madman leader is shocked, immediately mocking Su Mu for showing his face. This guy, Madman War God, keeps gloating about how weak Su Mu's team is, all while still sitting on a dude's back. But Su Mu is not even looking at him. He has spotted someone way more important in the background. It is the guild's vice president, Madman War Emperor, a famous warrior from his past life and a real problem. War God is still yapping, telling Su Mu to log off if he is scared, completely unaware he is no longer the main character. Su Mu just plants the dual order flag right in front of him, and the guy is just completely baffled. One of their scouts, a red-haired player, uses a stealth ability to check the perimeter for reinforcements. This scout reports back that it is just Su Mu's crew, leaving the leaders surprised he'd actually challenge them. War God accepts the challenge, promising to strip every last piece of gear from Su Mu's body. But the VP immediately challenges his authority, and you can just feel the tension between the guild leaders. War Emperor then addresses Su Mu directly, saying his luck has run out and this beatdown is a guild-wide decision. He offers to stay out of the main fight, but he has one personal request for our boy, and that request is a one-on-one duel to the death after the guild war is over, because of course it is. Wan Shen explains the duel's brutal stakes. Losing means a total character wipe, equipment and all. Su Mu just smirks, accepting the high-stakes challenge while the other guild leader whines about being ignored. With a final promise of total annihilation from War Emperor, the system officially accepts the deathmatch. These two guilds face off across the snowy field, and yet Su Mu's crew is hilariously outnumbered. Immediately, the battle erupts as both sides unleash a massive volley of ranged attacks. Su Mu's side is instantly on the defensive, with the frontline screaming for everyone to brace for impact. Their tanks form a shield wall, which gets absolutely hammered by fiery and icy explosions. From behind that cover, his own mages and archers let loose a counter-barrage of their own. Madman War God leads the charge, yelling for his melee fighters to smash through their ranks. He swings his giant axe, gloating that the level gap is just too big for Su Mu to handle. But Su Mu just blazes past the entire frontline, a blur of motion heading straight for their backline. This madman grunts cannot even land a hit as he zips through their formation, way too fast to target. Now deep in enemy territory, he is a whirlwind of chaos, dodging attacks and setting people on fire. In the back, the enemy warlocks start casting their healing spells to support their burning teammates. Except one of Su Mu's assassins pops out of stealth and guts a healer mid-cast, perfect timing. War God completely loses it, screaming for his warriors to fall back and protect their support line. Meanwhile, Su Mu is calmly issuing complex tactical orders to his guild, playing absolute 4D chess. Furious at his team's incompetence, War God orders his warriors to abandon the front and follow him, and that is when Su Mu springs the trap, unleashing that new AoE scroll and calling down a meteor shower. Su Mu just watches the chaos unfold, telling the raging War God he is very satisfied with this turn of events. War God's goons surround Su Mu, ready to Zerg rush him down with sheer numbers, a classic strategy. But Su Mu's got another trick up his sleeve, pulling out the other reward scroll for a more personal touch. He instantly learns Snowfall dual blades, and the enemy guild is just baffled why the mage is suddenly a swordsman. Panicked, War God orders everyone to attack at once, not giving our boy a second to breathe. Their coordinated strike lands, dealing a whopping 1 point of damage, truly a terrifying display of force. Completely unimpressed, Sumyu unleashes a swirling vortex of ice and snow, hitting everyone in melee range. Madman War God is instantly frozen solid, his face a perfect sculpture of how is this happening to me. With their leader out in seconds, the remaining grunts decide to switch tactics and pepper him from a distance. A volley of fireballs just bounces off him for single-digit damage as he wades through the explosions. Then he unleashes a flurry of slashes, carving through their ranks like they are made of paper. Standing over the bodies, he notes his health is halved, but his elemental enhancement is making these swords insane. Right on cue, Wan Shen appears behind him, casting a powerful healing spell to get him back in the fight. She tells him to focus because protecting their MVP is all that matters right now. Sumyu turns to thank her, but his expression suddenly shifts to pure shock. Because Madman War Emperor just appeared behind her and ran her through with a blade. Meanwhile, the freshly respawned War God is back, gloating that he cannot beat Sumyu but can definitely kill his healer. And that right there is the moment Sumyu's rage meter completely shatters. His eyes glow with pure unadulterated fury as his power begins to flare uncontrollably. This madman guild, completely oblivious to the doom they have unleashed, just keeps telling their archers to shoot him. Deciding he is done playing games, Sumyu prepares to use that final, devastating skill scroll he was saving. With his rage finally boiling over, Sumyu unleashes the Scorching Sunbreak skill. A colossal sword of pure fire descends from the heavens, ready to purge the entire battlefield. His attack carves through the Madman Guild like a hot knife through butter, and they do not stand a chance. This resulting explosion vaporizes dozens of players, their souls literally getting blasted into the sky. Sumyu just stands there, completely unfazed by the absolute carnage he just caused. Amidst the smoking craters and corpses, War Emperor is just stunned, wondering what kind of wizard this is. He is now realizing that accepting that deathmatch might have been a slight miscalculation. Meanwhile, in the real world, someone at a fancy corporate building is having a very, very bad day. This guy, presumably the real-world war god, gets a finger to the face while being reminded of their guild size. His boss is absolutely losing it, screaming about how all their gear is gone because he got wiped by a level 13 mage. This poor guy begs for another chance, but his boss is just face-palming at the sheer incompetence. Then a woman steps in, telling him to shut it because the real boss is still in-game making the calls. And that boss is Hetian, aka Madman War Emperor, chilling in his fancy gamer pod. Back in the game, Sumyu asks the Emperor if he is ready for their duel, who admits he underestimated him. Sumyu's internal monologue kicks in, recalling that this guy is a famous lone wolf with a hidden trump card. War Emperor then says his boss wants him to forfeit, which is a weird thing to say to your opponent. Our boy just shrugs it off, casually asking what his other options are. Love the confidence. He remembers from his past life that this Emperor dude once solo-wiped an entire guild for crossing him. So yeah, Sumyu knows this guy is stubborn, dangerous, and not someone to take lightly. Back in reality, the other guild leader is begging Hetian not to go through with it, whining about his investment. Inside his gaming pod, Hetian is getting seriously hyped, deciding he absolutely has to fight Sumyu. His business partner is having a complete meltdown outside, but Hetian has tuned him out entirely. All he can think about is the fight, driven by a pure, unfiltered need to compete and win. War Emperor challenges Sumyu to a duel without his ultimate fire spell, and our boy just accepts, no questions asked. With the duel flag planted in the snow, their one-on-one deathmatch officially begins. War Emperor wastes zero time, immediately leaping into the air with a massive lightning-infused strike. This attack is called Mountain Collapse, and its blinding speed catches Sumyu completely off guard. It slams into the ground with terrifying force, leaving Sumyu's crew wondering what kind of warrior this is. Oh look, the recently vaporized war god is back, mansplaining skill enhancement to everyone. Wan Shen immediately shuts him down, reminding him that for all his big talk, he still got wiped. So he resorts to petty insults, accusing her of being a groupie who is only with Sumyu for his power. This guy keeps yapping that the Emperor has more tricks while an assassin nervously eyes the enemy's insane gear. Meanwhile, in the actual fight, War Emperor is crackling with purple energy, ready for his next move. Sumyu barely dodged that last hit, realizing he took damage just from the shockwave. This guy is a serious threat. As the Emperor dives in for another attack, Sumyu knows his opponent is just warming up. Deciding he is done being on the defensive, Sumyu's staff ignites with fire, time to turn up the heat. He unleashes a torrent of flames, fully prepared to meet the Emperor's power with his own. This Emperor is suddenly engulfed in the inferno, clearly not expecting this kind of counterattack. A massive clash of fire and lightning erupts as their powers collide head-on in the arena. But he is not out yet, summoning a massive mountain shield to tank the fiery onslaught. War Emperor just powers through the firestorm, his own lightning shield deflecting the worst of it. This shield finally shatters, leaving him with a nasty burn debuff that slows him down, but he just leaps right out of the inferno, sword glowing, ready for another round. Then he comes crashing down with a heavy sword impact, a massive lightning-infused strike. Sumyu narrowly dodges, realizing this guy is using aerial attacks to avoid his ground-based spells. Smart. Our boy is literally upside down, internally complaining about how unfairly overpowered this dude is. This shockwave still clips him for a massive critical hit, sending him tumbling across the snow. After skidding to a stop, Sumyu can only stare at his health bar, shocked by the damage. He immediately pops a massive warlock heal, bathing himself in green light to recover half his health. Realizing a passive skill just saved him from a one-shot, he counters with a frost dance spell. War Emperor just carves right through the ice attack, completely unfazed by the counter. Annoyed that his best moves barely made a dent, he decides it is time to use his ultimate trick. A sinister red aura starts pulsing from his armor as the word immunity flashes repeatedly. He activates his blood sacrifice rampage armor, a transformation that grants temporary invincibility. Sumyu has a full-on Chibai panic attack, now 100% convinced the Emperor is also a reincarnator. Glowing with terrifying red power, the Emperor grips his sword, clearly done playing games. He closes the distance in a flash, and Sumyu can only raise his staff in a desperate block. Another collapse of mountains attack slams down, unleashing a devastating shockwave. Blasted backwards, Sumyu is furious that he just healed and is already on the brink of death again. This Emperor stands over him, wreathed in blood-red energy, and declares the duel is over. Sumyu's guild tries to rush in and help, but the madman grunts form a wall, telling them to back off. War God is on the sidelines, screaming for the Emperor to avenge their guild's honor, what is left of it anyway, and it looks like a done deal as War Emperor's blade slams right into Sumyu's chest. This attack hits with enough force to shatter the entire icy battlefield in a massive shockwave. Of course, the Madman Guild immediately starts celebrating, gloating that Sumyu got what he deserved. Even Sumyu's own crew looks on in horror, believing he has been completely annihilated. War God then lays out his generous terms: hand over all their gear or get hunted down forever. His goons follow up with a truly classy offer for Wan Shen to accompany their boss to save her friends. One of Sumyu's guildmates is about to lose it, but Wan Shen manages to hold him back. Suddenly, a massive purple sword comes flying out of the dust cloud. It impales War God right through the chest, who seems genuinely confused about dying again. A silhouette emerges from the smoke, calmly asking what they were just talking about. War God's face is pure undiluted terror as he realizes Sumyu is somehow still alive. And there he is, completely unharmed, delivering a one-word verdict on his opponent: trash. This system declares Sumyu the winner, his guild erupts in cheers, and War God's body goes flying. Seeing their leaders wiped, the rest of the Madman Guild just starts logging out in a panic. Wan Shen is just left staring, wondering how on earth he won with basically zero health left. Back at the resurrection point, a defeated War Emperor materializes on the platform. He is in total disbelief, muttering to himself that he actually lost the duel. Then we flash back 5 minutes to his attack landing, teasing the explanation for Sumyu's survival. So back in the fight, War Emperor lands a fatal blow, thinking he has finally won. Except the body he just stabbed dissolves into an afterimage, leaving him completely stunned. Because the real Sumyu is already behind him, explaining he used a clone to bait the attack. Knowing he was outmatched, our boy cast a freeze spell to lock the Emperor in place. Then he just dropped a massive fireball right on his head for the win, a truly elegant solution. At the respawn point, a defeated War Emperor tallies his losses, gear, gold, and a mountain of XP all gone. Just to rub it in, his own sword drops from the sky and lands right in front of him. Sumyu appears, declaring their guilds are now mortal enemies, while the Emperor just accepts his fate. Impressed by his attitude, Sumyu summons a little ball of fire, looking thoughtful. And with a flick of his wrist, he sends the flame flying across the platform. Its target is the freshly respawned War God, who has no idea what is about to happen. This fireball bonks him for 0 damage, and the Emperor is just confused why Sumyu spared him. Turns out, Sumyu does not want beef and just sends him a trade request to return all his gear. Talk about a power move. Waving goodbye, he hopes they can compete again on better terms, leaving the Emperor speechless. His guildmates are baffled he'd return plus 10 gear, but Sumyu reveals he is forming a small, elite team. Internally, he is scheming to recruit the Emperor, a lucky player who can sniff out hidden quests. This red-haired assassin immediately volunteers, but Sumyu just roasts him, saying assassins are useless. After some quality groveling, our boy relents, saying their team will be special enough to need him. Wan Shen just watches, wondering if the Emperor will actually take the bait after this whole mess. Right on cue, a friend request from Killer God pops up and Sumyu accepts, admiring the guy's quick rebrand. In private chat, Tian thanks Sumyu for the gear, quits his guild, and vows to beat him next time. Sumyu immediately dangles the ultimate bait, casually mentioning he is running a hidden dungeon tomorrow. Back in reality, Tian's ex-partner is throwing a fit over him leaving, but our boy looks completely over it. Sumyu, meanwhile, is just focused on his next move, completely unbothered by all the drama. Desperate for an invite, Tian practically begs to tag along, but Sumyu shuts him down with a hard no. This puts the Emperor in a tough spot, weighing his massive pride against his even bigger fear of missing out. So Sumyu gives him the meeting details and a promise to destroy the Madman Guild, which makes Tian instantly fold. Knowing he has him hooked, Sumyu decides this prideful new recruit will have to learn to obey his orders. This one condition for joining is to call him Big Brother, and Tian's ego just absolutely explodes. After all that screaming, he immediately caves and types, "Brother, so much for that legendary pride." Tian is coping hard, telling himself it is a necessary sacrifice for the sake of the hidden quest. Suddenly, we cut to the real world, where an expedition team is trekking through a snowy mountain range. They have discovered something insane in the Kunlun Mountains, a giant ice phoenix impaled over a mysterious vortex. This place is apparently a legendary sacred mountain, making the discovery a massive deal. Up close, the Ice Phoenix statue is even more breathtaking, and the team is just stunned by the sight. One of the explorers discusses retiring while an older colleague complains about his son playing that apocalypse game. Turns out, players in that very game helped them find this secret passage in the real world. With their objective in sight, the expedition team prepares to venture into the strange icy abyss. Meanwhile, back in the game, Su and his crew arrive at the edge of a massive snow-covered rift. They are staring down a sketchy-looking bridge over a chasm that is a casual negative 100 degrees. As the team ventures into the frozen wasteland, they suddenly hear a faint cry for help. This red-haired assassin spots a guy drowning in snow and immediately thinks he has hit the hidden quest jackpot. Convinced he is about to get some sweet loot, he sprints off to help the totally not a trap NPC. Sumu just facepalms, internally screaming at his new recruit for being a complete and utter moron. A close-up on the victim reveals a horrifyingly bloated purple face. This is not your average quest giver. And there it is, the guy's body explodes into a disgusting purple worm monster with way too many teeth. Sumu teleports in just in time, grabbing the monster mid-lunge before it can devour the screaming assassin. He casually chucks the creature away, warning that one bite from that thing is an instant game over. This monster quickly burrows back into the snow, leaving the assassin wondering what the hell just happened. Sumu explains the grim reality. It was another player, captured and used as live bait by a monster. Just as they are processing that, a nearby snow pile starts to move and everyone braces for another fight. A whole pack of phantom snow foxes erupts from the ground, their elite monster stats popping up. Suddenly, the entire guild is surrounded by a sea of angry, glowing-eyed foxes, forcing them into a defensive circle. But Sumu is completely unfazed, calmly explaining the foxes have a predictable attack pattern he can exploit. He demonstrates by launching a fireball, perfectly predicting where one of the foxes will jump to attack. This spell hits dead on, vaporizing the fox in a massive explosion for a clean one-shot kill. With the strategy clear, the warriors form a shield wall while the ranged DPS fires through the gaps. It is a total slaughter, with the foxes basically leaping headfirst into the team's coordinated attacks. Sumu orders them to keep up the pressure and fight their way toward the bridge in the distance. He then lays out the crossing formation, a clear plan to get them to the next stage and a new save point. This team sprints across the rickety bridge, basically screaming at each other to hurry up. Sumu holds the line at the entrance, calling down a meteor shower to cover their escape. Most of the guild makes it safely across, already celebrating not being fox food. Now the last one left, Sumu prepares to cross while his team cheers him on from the other side. But just as he takes a step, he spots a familiar, disgusting purple monster in the distance. His face drops in absolute horror as he realizes its target is not him, it is the bridge. And there it is, that awful worm creature from before, conjuring a massive ice spear. With a disgusting heave, the monster launches the giant icicle like a torpedo. It slams into the bridge with explosive force, sending the last few stragglers plummeting into the abyss. Sumu is left stranded on a tiny, crumbling section, barely keeping his balance over the chasm. Tangled in the ropes, he knows he is in a terrible spot and has to get off this wreck immediately. Then his team screams a warning. A whole herd of massive beasts just appeared on the cliff behind him. Because of course the worm monster is already winding up for another shot just to be a jerk. He is forced into a desperate backflip to dodge the next ice spear, which barely misses. Deciding he has had enough of this nonsense, Sumu launches a massive fireball from midair. His spell collides with the ice spear in a huge explosion, catching him right in the blast. His entire guild can only watch in horror, screaming his name as he is engulfed by the chaos. But at the last second, he hooks a dangling rope with his staff, saving himself from the fall. Dangling over the void, he is absolutely furious at being trapped in such a helpless position. His team frantically tries to come up with a rescue plan, but they are too far away to do anything. Dangling over the chasm, Sumu yells that his team needs to find a way to get him across. But his problems get way worse when that disgusting worm monster starts crawling up the rope. A stat sheet identifies it as the rotten flesh of the devil, an elite monster with completely unknown stats. He then spots an undigested hand, realizing this thing does not just kill players, it permanently deletes them. His guild is freaking out, knowing if that creature reaches their side, they are all dead meat. So Sumu makes the only call he can, screaming for them to cut the rope and save themselves. His team flat out refuses to abandon him, a really bad time for loyalty, guys. With the monster closing in and his guildmates hesitating, our boy decides to handle this himself. He summons a fireball, aiming it not at the monster, but at the very rope he is hanging from. This spell connects, snapping the line and sending both him and the creature plummeting into the abyss. His guild can only watch in horror as their leader completely disappears from sight. Down he goes, screaming into the howling winds of the seemingly bottomless pit. He is still clinging to the severed rope for dear life as the freezing air whips past him. This cold is so extreme his fingers are instantly frozen solid, making it impossible to even let go. Now he is just stuck, a human popsicle waiting for the monster on the rope to reel him in for dinner. From the cliff above, his guildmates have already written him off, sure he is either frozen or eaten. Completely paralyzed by the frost, Sumu weighs his two awful choices, freeze to death or get devoured. As the monster opens its giant maw to finish the job, he just accepts this is a really lame way to go. But suddenly, a massive updraft erupts from the chasm, blasting him and the monster straight up. He is completely stunned, screaming as the mysterious gale carries him right back out of the abyss. This updraft is not just wind, it is a massive, glowing blue spirit erupting right out of the chasm. And that spirit fully materializes into a legendary ice phoenix, as a system message welcomes the lucky warriors. His guildmates are freaking out, realizing they have hit a hidden event and scored 200 potential points. Still dangling from the rope, Sumyu just stares up at the rare shadow of the ice phoenix. He then notices the worm monster is completely frozen, with a strange glowing crystal embedded in its head. Turns out that is the Ice Phoenix Spirit Crystal, which he now knows is sealing the monster and saving his life. This system then offers him the ultimate choice: take the loot and unleash the beast, a truly responsible decision. After a brief moment of should I, our boy decides he cannot miss this opportunity and reaches for the crystal. Deciding to strike first, he blasts the paralyzed monster with a fireball while still hanging on for dear life. This spell hits and he uses the momentum to swing away, thinking he has pulled off a slick escape. Except the monster is just fine, and now it is climbing the rope with a vengeance, much to his horror. That thing is booking it up the rope, its giant mouth wide open and ready for a snack. Up on the cliff, his team notices his health bar is still there, realizing their leader is somehow still alive. So the red-haired assassin and a warrior start frantically pulling on the rope to haul him up. As he is being reeled in, Sumyu screams for everyone to get ready and start attacking from a distance. His guild, bless their hearts, just follows orders, firing blindly into the abyss without a single question. A rain of spells slams into the climbing monster, slowing its ascent by a solid 50%. Finally back on solid ground, Sumyu's first order is to cut the rope like right now. One of the warriors immediately obliges, bringing a massive greatsword down on the line with full force. With the rope severed, the monster, still on fire, plummets back down into the endless icy chasm. Just when they think it is over, the monster is somehow not dead and launches itself back up the chasm. Sumyu and his guildmates do not even hesitate, unleashing a massive volley of spells to greet its return. This entire ranged squad joins the fun, absolutely peppering the falling horror with everything they have got. And this time it sticks. The creature finally smacks the bottom of the abyss and stays down for good. Safely regrouped, the team asks what that nightmare fuel even was, getting a system id, rotten flesh from the evil demon. Sumyu just explains it as a special event, telling them to forget it and focus on moving forward now that they have survived. Meanwhile, back in the real world, the expedition team is still stranded by the vortex, with rescue hours away. Their day gets infinitely worse when they find an ancient, supposedly extinct centipede latched onto an old professor's leg. A quick search confirms the bug hates fire and sulfur, which is super helpful since they are in an icy hellscape. So the professor, in a moment of pure desperate genius, just starts screaming for them to burn his leg. One of his colleagues immediately starts dousing the limb with what looks like lighter fluid, no questions asked. This old man insists it is the only way, urging them to light it up before he loses the leg completely. With a grim apology, his teammate flicks a lighter and the whole leg just goes up in flames. This professor just stoically endures the agony, watching his own limb become a human torch. It actually works. The flaming centipede detaches and launches itself directly at another researcher. This new target tries to fend it off but gets a nasty bite on the hand for his trouble. Now he has got a prehistoric flaming bug attached to his hand, which is not an ideal situation. Thinking fast, he shoves his hand into a metal pot, trapping the creature inside with a loud clang. With the monster finally contained, the team collectively realizes they may have touched something they really should not have. Staring at the pot, they start wondering if this is not just a passage but a tomb of the gods. This researchers reveal they saw not just the centipede but something else, dead or alive, in the passage. Their leader gives the classic horror movie advice: stick together and wait for the rescue team. Two of them brave the blizzard to head for the supply tent because splitting up always works out. They then find the massive Ice Phoenix statue has somehow moved, which is not a great sign. Meanwhile, back in the game, Sumyu's guild reaches a safe point on Phoenix Cry Road. He gives them a side quest to collect flowers, promising big rewards for what is basically busy work. This guild's vice president complains about the task while smoothly asking for his number. She then drops a bombshell, revealing she knows he is the hidden boss who saved her in a past life. Sumyu, barely fazed by this revelation, just looks at her and says he trusts her completely. She is clearly touched by his faith, thanking him with a genuine smile. And now for something completely different. A real-world gaming tournament is in full swing. A guy in the crowd tries to impress a girl with his game knowledge while his friends roast him for it. On stage, a ranger named Uemo uses a slick dodge to evade a warrior's heavy sword attack. She immediately counters with a powerful charged shot, catching her opponent totally off guard. Her arrow rain skill finishes the job, securing a clean and decisive victory in the arena. This girl is super impressed, and the guy explains the win with surprising professional insight. This winner is revealed to be from Lost Memory City, one of the top guilds in the game. Then the girl he was talking to gets called for her match, but she is a low-level and terrified. Her guildmate publicly shames her, calling her a useless socialite and insulting her new friend. She gets right in the poor girl's face, demanding she either fight or publicly quit the guild. This girl, Luo Jiusi, vows to fight with dignity, while the crowd just cheers for a catfight. But all that bravery vanishes as she immediately starts begging her friend for coaching, offering snacks as a bribe. This guy Mu Shen scoffs at the offer but agrees to help her fight a level 15 as a level 12. She logs into the arena, materializing as a mage in a very heroic-looking pose. Then a private chat reveals her build is a total disaster, a tank mage who picked gear because it looked cute. This battle begins, pitting our fashion-first newbie against the pro archer who publicly shamed her. Meanwhile, two men in suits watch from a skybox, hinting that GUC has some kind of secret identity. This blonde one, Chin Lang, admits he is interested in GUC and is sick of the other girl's attitude. Back in the fight, the archer lands the first hit, immediately taking a chunk of GUC's health. Mu Shen is absolutely losing it, screaming at her to dodge while she just stands there waiting for instructions. As three more arrows fly, he tells her to use a shield since dodging is clearly not an option. She barely gets a magic shield up in time, bracing for impact with a look of pure terror. Her shield shatters instantly but manages to block most of the damage, a small victory. This archer, completely unimpressed, starts charging up a massive special move to end this. An icy barrage rains down, but Mu Shen sees an opening and tells her to get a fireball ready. Following his command to the letter, she unleashes a huge fireball right back at her opponent. This crowd is stunned by the sudden counterattack, realizing this might actually be a fight. It slams home for a massive critical hit, catching the overconfident archer completely off guard. Now she is furious, activating a powerful thunder arrow and vowing to make the newbie pay. This audience recognizes the rare purple skill and immediately writes GUC off. This fight is over. Mu Shen is not letting her quit, giving GUC a new command to squat and cast ice spikes at a specific angle. Without hesitation, she throws up a wall of jagged ice thorns, completely breaking line of sight. This totally messes with the archer, whose ultimate skill loses its lock on the now hidden target. While the pro is stuck charging, Mu Shen whispers another precise movement command to GUC. This crowd is completely baffled, and the archer finally realizes this newbie is getting coached. Her opponent starts trash-talking about needing a man, but Mu Shen's already planning the counterattack. With intense focus, he gives the final order and a 1-second countdown for the ambush. This moment the ice shatters, GUC blasts her with a blinding light spell right to the face. This shocking reversal has the audience roaring, some laughing at the pro getting styled on. Even blinded, the archer stubbornly keeps charging her big move, so Mu Shen tells GUC to just spam attacks. So GUC starts machine gunning fireballs, forcing the archer to either dodge or tank the damage. Mu Shen tells her the archer is in a bind and that it is time to test her luck, you little fool. Finally giving up, the archer just fires blind, landing a massive critical hit that sends GUC flying. Though she is on the ground, Mu Shen yells that the archer is out of mana and to keep firing no matter what. This big screen shows the archer just taking hit after hit, earning GUC some serious respect from the crowd. And then her luck finally pays off, triggering a massive fire falling from the sky skill. In a last-ditch effort, the archer fires a final arrow that does 0 damage as GUC secures the win. But just as the match ends, the crowd points out that the skill has somehow triggered a second time. A whole new meteor shower rains down, leaving the archer in total disbelief at this impossible luck. With flames reflected in her eyes, the archer looks like she is about to have a complete meltdown. That second meteor shower absolutely engulfs the archer in a massive, fiery explosion. This scoreboard declares a draw, then immediately flashes wrong, as the announcers call it the worst match ever. But the crowd is going absolutely nuts, pointing out the game is not over and screaming GUC's name. Turns out GUC's gear had a life-saving passive that left her with exactly 1 HP. She survived. And with that, she strikes a victory pose, celebrating her completely unbelievable plot armor level luck. While the archer has a full-blown meltdown over losing to a loser, GUC is just pure unadulterated joy. Back in the real world, she immediately starts looking for her coach in the crowd, but he is already gone. Mu Shen just sends a text, congratulating his little fool before totally ghosting her on their dinner plans. We then cut to our boy Su Mu brushing his teeth and failing to reach his researcher parents, a totally normal Tuesday for him. He then checks his phone, seeing his guild has already finished the flower-picking busywork he assigned them. Logging back into the game, Su Mu immediately starts organizing his guild into 10 teams for the next phase. He pulls out that legendary Ice Phoenix crystal, admiring the sweet new gear he nearly died for. Internally, he is already planning his next moves, realizing he needs a solid, reliable crew to make it happen. So his first order of business is promoting 2 key members to vice president via guild-wide announcement. This red-haired assassin is ecstatic, while Su Mu just smirks, thinking a good VP is one who spends money. Just then, a massive, fully armored warrior approaches the group, instantly grabbing everyone's attention. It is the Emperor of War, a famous player who everyone assumes is here to start some trouble. But then a system alert drops. The Emperor of War just joined their guild, leaving the members completely stunned. Su Mu welcomes the new guy, who is clearly here for some secret info, sealing the deal with a firm handshake. With their new powerhouse on board, the core team assembles, ready to tackle the Snow Forest Altar dungeon. Su Mu kicks things off with a warning about the dungeon, claiming his friend got wiped out here. Yeah, sure, friend. This guild's VP immediately picks up on this, realizing his intel is way too good to be public knowledge. Just then, the red-haired assassin spots a creepy praying ghost figure just standing in their path, so naturally he walks right up and taps it on the shoulder, asking what it is looking at. This ghost shatters instantly and the guy starts taking damage, freaking out as his health bar tanks. Su-Mu, completely unfazed, just shoves a glowing white flower in his mouth to stop the bleeding. He then gives the most basic advice ever. Do not touch weird things in a death dungeon, you absolute geniuses. Now the whole team has to walk down a long path lined with hundreds of these praying ghost husks. Even the Emperor of War is impressed by Su-Mu's knowledge while the assassin asks what these things even are. Su-Mu explains they are shells, the soulless bodies of people whose flesh and spirit were stolen. And right on cue, another guildmate screams as they apparently touch one and start shattering too. While the guy takes damage, the VP gets her spellbook ready as Su-Mu gives the command to start. She casts Soul Imprisonment, freezing the player so they can shove an antidote flower down his throat. After being saved, the guy insists he saw one of the shells move, but everyone just thinks he is crazy. Su-Mu clarifies it is all a hallucination and tells them to eat a flower if they see anything weird. This entire guild now marches forward, miserably chewing on bitter flowers to stave off insanity. They finally reach the end of the creepy hallway, emerging into a massive, open basin. It is a giant arena filled with a literal sea of thousands more praying shells, not exactly a welcome party. Su-Mu's brilliant strategy is to just walk through them, reminding everyone not to break their magic flowers. As they wade into the silent crowd, a couple of guys are already getting spooked, hissing that their scalps are tingling. A sudden wind kicks up and all the praying shells start dissolving into blue, sparkly dust. This dust, which is apparently human tissue asterisk, blows right into everyone's faces, absolutely disgusting. All the soul dust then swirls towards a massive, ominous-looking altar at the center of the arena. From the particles, a giant glowing spirit materializes, welcoming the first living people in ages. It gives a creepy smile, saying their flower scent is the entry ticket to this very lonely place. And of course a quest pops up, clear the altar and find out the secret of the shells. Su-Mu immediately orders everyone to accept and the whole guild readies up for a fight. A circular barrier of light then traps the entire guild on the central platform, no turning back now. Just as they are locked in, the VP points at something with a look of pure panic. All those thousands of shells are now standing up and a guildmate confirms it is not a hallucination. This whole team starts to freak out, realizing they are about to get swarmed by an army of the dead. One guy just screams what everyone's thinking, they are gonna get wiped out immediately. Then the entire altar starts sinking into the ground, with shells just pouring over the edge after them. It is a one-way elevator ride straight down into a massive, dark abyss. They finally land in a misty forest, which a system message calls the birthplace of the demon god. Great. More lore drops reveal this place was a lab for some bloody experiment and the shells are the failures. Su-Mu, ever the strategist, barks out a classic MMO formation to keep everyone alive. Their path leads them down a dark corridor lined with what look like old, busted prison cells. This red-haired assassin gets major Resident Evil vibes, asking if they have stumbled into the Umbrella Corporation. Su-Mu connects the dots. If these are the failures, then a finished product is probably lurking nearby. And right on cue, a single, ominous green light appears at the end of the dark corridor. A grotesque, clawed hand suddenly slams down out of the darkness. It is a level 30 elite backbone beast, and its stats confirm this thing is a serious problem. Su-Mu lays down the grim rules for this floor: kill every beast because no one gets revived until it is done. With a horrifying shriek, the first monster lunges straight for the front line. This entire guild immediately unloads on it, peppering the beast with a volley of spells and arrows. A massive critical hit lands, staggering the creature as it is blasted by a wave of energy. And just like that, the monster collapses to the ground, seemingly dead at Su-Mu's feet. Their new powerhouse, the Emperor of War, calls the fight simple, but Su-Mu knows better. With a knowing smirk, he points out that the monster is just splitting in half. It fully regenerates into two, and Su-Mu reveals the gimmick: that long spike on its back has to be destroyed. One overconfident warrior decides he has got this, charging in to smash the bone spur with his axe. His axe just clangs right off without a scratch, leaving him stunned at how hard it is. For his brilliant effort, the beast promptly skewers him right through the chest. Su-Mu finally yells out the actual asterisk strategy: use continuous fire to soften the spur before attacking it. Their mages start blasting it, but Su-Mu refines the plan: drain its HP first, then go for the spur. But just as they are getting a handle on things, someone notices more glowing eyes appearing behind them. A whole swarm of spine beasts is pouring in from the rear, and even more from the front. They are trapped. Total chaos erupts as the team gets swarmed, with everyone screaming to soften the bone spurs. This formation completely breaks as players get dogpiled, and things are looking incredibly grim. This guild is in full-blown panic as the monsters just keep resurrecting. This is not going well. To make things worse, the beasts are now gnawing on player corpses, with one guy just screaming for help. Watching the chaos, Su-Mu grimly notes that the casualties are getting way too high. So our boy decides it is time to stop holding back, activating his mental energy to create a perfect clone. While his original self torches the horde, he barks out the new strategy for everyone to follow. And his blue clone mirrors the attack perfectly, doubling the firepower instantly with a Skyfire spell. This double fire assault debuffs the monsters, burning away their defense and slowing them down. Seeing his chance, the Emperor of War moves in to shatter a weakened beast's bone spur. His attack connects and the monster finally goes down for good this time. With the strategy proven, the other warriors get a surge of confidence and charge in for the kill. Meanwhile, the red-haired assassin decides this is the perfect time to practice his new moves. We get a quick flashback to Su Mu's lesson: assassins are squishy and cannot brawl, so do not be an idiot. His core advice was to use speed and shadows to find weak points, not just run in swinging. Su Mu even demonstrated a lightning-fast strike, proving just how deadly an assassin should be. Putting that lesson to the test, the kid starts zipping around a monster looking for an opening. He lands a clean hit right on the creature's weak point, a perfect textbook strike. Remembering Su Mu's warning not to get greedy, he dodges a swipe and repositions himself. Then he goes in for the final blow, landing a massive critical hit to finish it off. And of course, he immediately starts celebrating his solo kill, completely forgetting he is in a war zone. Luckily, the VP saves his clueless butt with a last-second shield because teamwork is a thing. With the new strategy working, the whole guild tears into the remaining monsters, finally turning the tide. Su Mu gives the assassin one last piece of advice: do not get cocky, which he immediately ignores. A system alert confirms the floor is cleared, resurrecting fallen players who cannot believe they actually survived. This Emperor of War then reveals the monsters were a special category called reincarnations, not your average dungeon trash. And the VP explains they are twisted biological weapons, humans fused with evil spirits who lost their sanity in the process. While the assassin fumes about moral decay, Su Mu just scoffs, knowing this is barely a warm-up for what is coming. After a quick recovery, the team presses onward, heading through a massive gate to the next level. They find a giant wheel of misfortune, and the Emperor of War confirms their next fight is entirely up to luck. A closer look reveals every single option is a world-ending boss, demon lords, and even Apophis. This red-haired kid has a complete meltdown, screaming that the game is trying to kill a bunch of teenagers. He turns to the VP, absolutely certain that fighting another Apophis-level threat is a guaranteed wipe. Ignoring the panic, Su Mu calmly tells everyone to offer up one of their magic flowers to activate the trial. As they do, a system window registers every guild member as a challenger for this insane boss rush. With their purification power collected, the wheel starts spinning in a high-speed game of Russian roulette. This whole guild starts praying to the RNG gods, with the assassin begging for anything but the worst outcome. This pointer finally slows down, landing on a winged demon lord, not Apophis, but still not looking friendly. It is the black-winged golden crow, and Su Mu immediately regrets bringing the assassin, blaming his terrible luck. A blinding flash of light teleports the entire guild to the boss arena, a burning cliff with a 3-minute prep time. They land in a volcanic hellscape, with players already complaining that the ground is literally melting their shoes. Someone looks up and points out the problem. There are 10 suns in the sky, this is gonna be rough. Su Mu's brilliant boss plan is immediately interrupted by a fresh horde of spine beasts, prompting complaints about the gaming experience. This Emperor of War tries to calm them by saying it is just the hardest boss, which earns him a death glare from the assassin. Before they can even finish panicking, the 10 suns in the sky start launching massive fireballs right at them. But the fireballs are not for them, they are for the monsters, wiping out the entire army in a single fiery blast. In one overwhelming attack, the whole field of trash mobs is just gone, instantly vaporized. A voice then booms from one of the suns, warning all mortals to leave immediately or be turned to ash. This guild collectively screams back that they'd love to leave, but they were kinda teleported here against their will. Su Mu, completely unfazed, just points at the sky and starts trash-talking the god-tier boss, demanding it come down and fight. This predictably makes the boss furious, and the ambient heat instantly sets some poor guy's hair on fire. A blinding star of light then descends from the heavens, heading straight for the guild on the ground. This light solidifies, revealing the boss in all her glory, a winged, spear-wielding warrior goddess of fire. Her stat screen confirms she is an elite demon lord with a tragic backstory about being a spurned god turned evil. And of course, half the guild immediately forgets they are about to die, drooling over the goddess, while their hair is literally on fire. She is not impressed by their simping, calling them foolish mortals as she readies her flaming spear for an attack. With a powerful swing, she unleashes a massive horizontal wave of fire straight at the front line. This attack slams into the tanks, who immediately start taking huge amounts of damage and screaming in pain. Worse yet, they are all on fire and cannot put it out thanks to a nasty debuff that doubles all incoming damage. This Emperor of War is shocked they are not dead, but Su Mu clarifies this is a nerfed version. The real one would have one-shot them all. Su Mu orders everyone to snap out of it, scatter, and start attacking, even telling the fanboys to wipe their drool and fight. Their first volley of attacks lands, doing practically 0 damage, leaving the guild wondering why they are suddenly so weak. Su Mu lays down the new rule with a meme face: no fire attacks on the fire boss. Did they even read the intro? And yet he immediately blasts her with his own fire magic, leaving the guild utterly baffled by his rules for the strategy. With a smug look, he just says they are different, which is the classic MC way of saying, I have plot armor. This goddess then flies out of reach, prompting the guild to complain that the fight's unfair because they do not have wings. She prepares to unleash a golden flame storm, a massive ring of fire that is about to nuke the entire arena. This massive heat wave hits everyone, inflicting a nasty burn debuff that ticks away their health every second. Declaring their doom, she dives straight down with her spear, ready to turn the front line into shish kebabs. But Sumew has a plan, ordering all mages to hit her with a frost spell to slow her down and make her vulnerable. Their ice spells actually connect, doing some serious damage and making the goddess look genuinely angry for the first time. Furious at being hurt by mere mortals, she unleashes an even bigger wave of fire to retaliate. A few unlucky players get caught in the blast, screaming as they are completely incinerated on the spot. This VP screams at everyone to spread out and keep attacking before the burn damage wipes them all. Following his lead, the guild unloads another volley, with Sumew ordering them to stop once her health hits 100,000. As her health drops to the threshold, a system alert warns she is about to use her ultimate, the Burning Heart. Sumew then yells the weirdest strategy ever: stop fighting and quickly think of a woman they like. Our red-haired assassin and his buddy immediately start drooling over a harem of fantasy women, priorities people. He even points to a female guildmate, telling her to think of a man or just think of him if she is drawing a blank. Meanwhile, the boss is still charging her ultimate attack, completely unaware of the guild's bizarre mental exercise. Suddenly, the male player's life force starts draining away, seemingly fueling some unknown mechanic, and a vision reveals the boss's backstory, a mother sacrificing herself to save her son, Zayamu. This vision shows the boss's son, Zayamu, reliving the trauma of losing his parents, but in his memory, a veiled woman the boss in her past life appears to comfort him. He remembers her as a literal angel, reaching out to save him from his despair. Her hand holds his, a simple, powerful memory of being protected and cared for, and she promises him that she will always be there to watch over him. Back in reality, Sumew's eyes snap open. He is broken free from the mental attack. This Emperor of War is shocked he is fine, but Sumew just says he thought of someone important, duh. He then complains that a female guildmate was not thinking of him because of course he did. With the mechanic revealed, Sumew and the Emperor of War charge in to break the boss's ultimate together. Their combined attack slams into her defenses as the rest of the guild just watches, stunned. This assassin, meanwhile, is just glad to be alive, admitting the strategy worked, even if his good thoughts were supermodels. This goddess is absolutely losing it, screaming that it is impossible for mortals to have broken her ultimate. Turns out their happy thoughts were just a bunch of unspeakable, not safe for work memes peak strategy. She calls them shameless rats for using such despicable means, completely unaware of the degeneracy involved. In a blind rage, she unleashes a massive fiery explosion that sends players flying everywhere. She gloats about the power gap between gods and ants, ready to finish them off. But suddenly her legs are completely encased in ice and she is not happy about it. Sumew and his clone stand ready, taunting that even gods can become food for ants. With a final declaration, both versions of Sumew unleash a devastating combined assault. Their attack smashes into her and the damage numbers confirm this is gonna hurt a lot. This twin assault absolutely melts her, with the guild freaking out over Sumew's insane damage numbers. Seeing their chance, the rest of the guild charges in, screaming that they cannot let their president down now. Sumew and his clone just keep spamming ice attacks, burying the goddess under a mountain of critical hits. Her spear and shield lie broken as she collapses, completely unable to process being defeated by mortals. Even on her knees, she is still clinging to her pride, muttering about how she is a god, sure lady. Sumew just walks up and gives her a lecture, calling her unworthy for selling out to evil spirits for power. She goes full villain mode, ranting that only the strong survive, which makes the VP realize this NPC is way too real. Then she turns it on him, saying his aura is just as tainted and he can join her in hell. But Sumew is not here to debate theology, he just unleashes a glowing blue crystal from his chest. This goddess recognizes it as an ice phoenix spirit crystal, wondering if it is about to trigger an awakening. It slams right into her and she starts screaming as Sumew coldly promises to turn her to ash. He gets this absolutely terrifying look, vowing that this is just the start of his god-killing career. After she fades, the crystal is absorbed into his hand, a nice little parting gift for all his hard work. This VP is left wondering if the boss was so emotional because they were the first, or if it is all about Sumew. A quick stat check reveals the loot is a legendary Ice Phoenix crystal, an item that can literally evolve. A system alert confirms the boss is dead, and the guild is immediately teleported to the next area. They find themselves before a massive demonic gate hyped up for the final boss of the dungeon. With a blinding flash of light, the stone mouth grinds open, beckoning them inside. And then we cut to the real world, where a military team finds a giant Ice Phoenix statue that apparently moved by itself. This rescue leader pressures a very worried Dr. Sue to take the artifact, completely ignoring the obvious warning signs. Back in the real world, a researcher frantically reports that a rescue team member just unleashed an ancient, sealed centipede. This team's leader, a guy with a very punchable goatee, just laughs it off as his men panic behind him. He then tries to de-escalate by suggesting they just go back into the secret passage to find more extinct superbugs. When Dr. Sue objects, the leader mocks his scientific team for being cowards, insisting they cannot leave empty-handed. So he rallies his own crew of bros, volunteering them to go catch some bugs for the scaredy cat scientists. Dr. Sue reluctantly agrees to guide them, while the leader secretly plots how to use him for his own mission. They venture into a massive ice cave, completely oblivious to the giant monster leg lurking just out of frame. A wide shot reveals just how vast and dangerous the cavern is, with the team looking like tiny specks. Their leader warns them that this is where they found the first creature, confirming it is highly aggressive. One of his men just grins and checks his revolver, clearly thinking a handgun is enough for a prehistoric horror. This scientists beg him not to shoot and cause a cave-in, but he just brushes them off, calling them cowards. His cocky smirk instantly vanishes as he spots something moving in the darkness ahead. Raising his gun, he demands to know who is there, with only the sound of dripping water answering him. But before he can react, one of his own teammates suddenly opens fire on him in a shocking betrayal. And psych, we're back in the game, where the guild enters the final altar, the birthplace of the ruined god. This whole area is covered in pulsating, fleshy pods, and the guild is understandably grossed out by the alien decor. Sumyu immediately takes command, assigning ranged players to plant purification flowers while everyone else focuses on the main boss. He orders them to get the flowers into the light beams ASAP, and the whole team springs into action. As they approach, a massive, scaly claw bursts out of the central pod, making the frontline scream in terror. This final boss finally emerges, a monstrous, multi-limbed beast tearing itself free from its fleshy cocoon. This guild recoils as the boss's massive shadow falls over them, their hype instantly turning to dread. This thing is a four-armed, scaly nightmare, dripping with goo and looking ready to eat the entire server. Its stat screen confirms they are screwed, an elite monster named Disaster with immunities and a kill-on-sight policy. This team immediately starts panicking, with the tank admitting the boss's defense is higher than his own attack value. But Sumyu is all business, ordering the assassin to find the light beams while everyone else buys him time. Their first volley of attacks lands, doing single-digit damage, which is basically just giving the monster a light massage. This thing then starts moving with terrifying speed, creating afterimages as it prepares to counterattack. It immediately smashes its giant fist down, flattening one of the guild members into a pancake. This frontline gets absolutely demolished, with players screaming that the boss is just unbeatable. Meanwhile, the assassin finds the final light beam, yelling that he is about to activate the purification flower. He tosses it in, and a massive pillar of light erupts from the ground, signaling the plan is working. Sumyu confirms the mechanism is active as beams of light shoot up all around the arena. These beams converge on the boss, wrapping around it like chains and shredding its defense stat. With the monster pinned, Sumyu blasts it with a fire spell, finally doing some real damage. Seeing their chance, the entire guild unloads everything they have on the now vulnerable boss. Sumyu follows up with a massive fire serpent, dealing thousands of damage in a single hit. Even with all that, he knows it is not enough firepower and that time is running out fast. A quick health check shows they have barely made a dent. It has still got over 425,000 HP left. Getting desperate, Sumyu screams at everyone to pour on the damage with everything they have got. But the glowing restraints begin to shatter, and he yells for the melee fighters to fall back before the boss breaks free. And their master plan lasts all of 5 seconds before the boss shatters the restraints and buffs its own defense. It immediately snatches up a frontline warrior, who can only scream for help as he is lifted off the ground. A bloody shadow on the floor is the only thing left of that guy, so much for the tank line. Taking command, Sumyu orders everyone to kite the beast while the ranged team preps for the next light beam cycle. His own fire spell lands, doing a whopping 21 damage, which is basically just a mild sunburn for this thing. Even the archer's best shots are just bouncing off, doing single-digit damage and accomplishing absolutely nothing. This Emperor of War charges in with a heavy sword strike, hitting for a pathetic 19 points of damage. His follow-up slash does a whole 20, confirming that without the debuff, they are just tickling the monster. And to make matters worse, the boss starts regenerating its health, which is just fantastic news for everyone. Just in time, the light beams reappear and the assassin leads the charge to plant the next round of flowers. With the debuff active again, the guild gets back to work, chaining the monster down and lowering its defense. Sumyu grimly accepts that this is going to be a long, drawn-out war of attrition. Meanwhile, outside the instance, a different group of players has been waiting in the snow for an hour and a half. Their purple-haired leader, Mozifa, learns that Sumyu's team includes some major guild leaders. His lackey suggests they should follow them in, figuring there must be some amazing loot inside. Mozifa shuts him down with a single death glare, asking if he is really trying to give him orders. He is deeply suspicious of how a low-level nobody like Sumyu managed to recruit such powerful allies. Deciding he wants to meet Sumyu, he tells his guild to set up an ambush for when they exit the dungeon. This guy gives a classic villain speech about how Sumyu's luck is about to run out. 1 hour later, back in the fight, the guild has somehow survived 9 rounds and gotten the boss to half health. Sumyu is starting to panic, realizing that even after 9 rounds, they still do not have the firepower. Disaster is still barely scratched, gloating that its health pool is just straight up broken. For the 10th and final beam, Sumyu screams at everyone to give it their all. This is their last shot. But the monster unleashes a blinding shockwave, scattering the guild members like bowling pins. A horrified Sumyu realizes the boss just unleashed its ultimate, a total party wipe skill. And this ultimate, Soul Drain, is an undodgeable attack that freezes everyone in their tracks. As his guildmates start fading out, the Emperor of War just finds the whole soul-draining experience interesting. Priorities, man. Frozen in place, Sumyu accepts their fate, the entire raid wiped, all their hard work completely wasted. but a vision of the VP appears, trying to comfort him and promising they can just start over. And he is crushed with guilt, admitting he led them all to die, but she just says they trust him completely. She tells him to stop carrying the world on his shoulders, reminding him with a smile that they are friends. This word friend hits him hard, forcing him to admit he only recruited everyone to be useful pawns. But realizing he'd abandoned the very idea of friendship, he decides he cannot lose them now. His eyes flare with new resolve. Back in this strange soul dimension, the entire guild remains frozen, scattered across a white void. While disaster looms over the helpless players, snatching one of them up like a toy, it then just casually crushes the player's soul in its hand, shattering them into nothing. This boss looks on with a smug, predatory glint in its eye, clearly enjoying the slaughter. But then a glowing blue egg materializes out of thin air, right in the middle of the battlefield. And it erupts with power as a system alert screams, "Frost Nirvana activated." This egg shatters, and from the wreckage, Sumyu rises, reborn with some kind of new ice power. Sumyu stands reborn in a torrent of blue energy, ready to unleash divine powers he never had before. Disaster just stares back with pure, unadulterated rage. It knows it is in trouble now. This monster swings wildly, but our boy calmly taunts it, saying its anxiety will only speed up its death. Using some kind of psychic link, he tells his spirit clone to go plant the flower while he keeps the beast busy. His clone zips right past the boss's clumsy grab, a perfect little bait-and-switch maneuver. Then he unleashes a volley of glowing blue energy blades, sending them slicing through the air. These blades bind the monster as a system alert confirms his magic attack just got a 100% boost. Nice. Sumyu immediately unloads a fire spell, racking up thousands in damage while screaming for the beast to die. His fiery assault continues to absolutely melt the boss, with damage numbers popping up everywhere. With the health bar nearly gone, he summons a massive ice spear for a stylish finishing move. He launches the spear right at its face, dedicating the attack to the VP Wanner. Not even pausing for a breath, he crosses his arms with a deadly look, already prepping his next strike. This time it is a glowing blue scythe, an attack he dedicates to the dark god. Talk about holding a grudge. He then flexes his senior wizard skills by conjuring a flaming sword just to rub it in. That fire sword gets shoved right down the monster's throat, a final blow meant to kill a god. A massive explosion finishes the job as Sumyu demands the boss pay its debts. Dramatic much. With a smug snap of his fingers, the magic show is over, and a system alert confirms the dungeon is cleared. His power fades as he floats gently back to the ground, the battle finally won. But then a mysterious blue spirit named Yumi appears, a plot twist Sumyu definitely does not remember from his past life. This spirit reveals it was drawn by an evil spirit inside him, making Sumyu wonder if it knows his deepest secrets. Yumi the spirit casually asks Sumyu why he is in such a rush to kick her out. She dodges his questions, telling him to go to Winter City to figure out who Asterisk he is. Left alone, Sumyu wonders if some god-tier being just cleared the dungeon for him. He's getting real tired of all the unexplained weirdness since his rebirth and vows to find answers. Meanwhile, the rest of the guild resurrects, completely baffled as to how they actually won. They immediately start celebrating around the boss's corpse, giving all the credit to Sumyu, zero questions asked. One guy is literally crying on his leg while the VP thanks him, and Sumyu just looks so done with it all. This Emperor of War suspects it is related to a secret item, but Sumyu just tells him to shut up and take his loot. A system alert confirms their nearly 3-hour run scored excellent overall. While everyone else gets A or B ranks, our boy Sumyu walks away with a solo SSS level score. His ego immediately inflates to the size of a planet, thinking he is the sole reason for their success. And the rewards are insane, a mountain of gold, exp, and even a cross-professional skill opportunity. He is trying so hard not to laugh like a pig in front of everyone, but the greed is real. This Emperor of War is just happy he can use his new reputation to hit on NPC girls before logging off. As the guild exits the dungeon, Sumyu tells everyone to take a break, but the assassin senses trouble. Her passive detection lights up like a Christmas tree. They are completely surrounded. On the ridges above, dozens of archers from Mozifa's guild have their bows drawn and ready. Sumyu instantly snaps into command mode, ordering his warriors to form a shield wall. Their shields barely hold against a massive volley of flaming arrows, and the team is furious at the ambush. Peeking from cover, they spot enemy mages advancing, which means their own healers are about to be useless. Sumyu barks out a complex counter-ambush plan, splitting his forces to hit their mages and archers. With the order given, his frontline warriors charge forward to meet the enemy head-on. Meanwhile, Sumyu leads his own elite squad on a flanking maneuver to decapitate the enemy leadership. Their leader, Mozifa, just laughs, finding it absolutely absurd that 3 people think they can challenge his entire guild. He immediately orders his mages to focus fire on the trio, already drooling over their dungeon loot. In a gutsy move, Sumyu leaps high into the air, basically painting a giant target on his own back. Mozifa thinks this is the dumbest play he has ever seen, screaming for his mages to nuke the airborne idiot. But our boy is cool as a cucumber, preparing a little something called heavenly fire while totally exposed. A massive firestorm erupts from below, incinerating the enemy mages who are screaming about the insane damage. Mozifa's jaw just hits the floor. That is definitely not a standard issue mage skill. His guild is in total chaos, with one guy complaining that this sneak attack is unethical, during their own ambush no less. Convinced Su Mu has a rare hidden skill, Mo Zifa desperately rallies his remaining forces for another push. Just then, one of their assassins pops up behind Su Mu, going for the classic backstab. This Emperor of War casually catches the blade with his bare hand, protecting Su Mu like a personal bodyguard. As the VP patches him up, some poor dude's legs go flying in the background. This fight is getting messy. Mo Zifa's ambushers are now in a full-blown rout, screaming that they cannot handle the damage output. This battlefield becomes a total slaughter, with flaming arrows and ice spells tearing through the enemy ranks. With his grand plan in shambles, Mo Zifa's goons beg him to retreat before they all get wiped. But it is way too late for that. The assassin is right behind him, blade to his throat, asking if he is handsome enough to live. After a quick inspection, the verdict is in, not handsome, and the sentence is death, cold. This assassin finishes the job with a clean slice across Mo Zifa's throat, so much for that grand ambush. His tough guy act completely evaporates as he begs for his life while his lackeys wisely book it. Su Mu's crew corners the last survivor, who apparently forced them into a death squad, and Su Mu wants to hear him scream. This guy is absolutely losing it as Su Mu casually suggests killing him, reviving him, and then killing him again for fun. Elsewhere, in a much quieter part of the world, a lone snow beast wanders through a serene, frozen forest. It is a level 20 wild monster snow tiger, and it looks like it is about to have a very, very bad day. Yep, a single glowing arrow one-shots the poor thing for nearly 4,600 critical damage, total overkill. This archer is a red-haired girl named Duckhead Flavor, who just casually comments on how much that must have hurt. Perched in a tree, she daydreams about the rewards for being the first to reach the SSS-level main city. Her subordinate reports that their team, the Black Dragon Hall, is all rested up and ready to move out on her command. Meanwhile, Su Mu is rallying his own troops, stressing the need to rush to Winter City to secure their advantage. He dismisses the team for the night, telling them to rest up for the big push tomorrow morning. Alone now, Su Mu checks his stats and sees he has millions of exp saved up, enough for a massive level jump. But he has been saving it for his Hand of Death skill, a broken ability that doubles all damage but costs a fortune to upgrade. Deciding to finally pull the trigger, he dumps a whopping 5 million experience points into the skill upgrade. A massive vortex of energy erupts around him, making him wonder if the Grim Reaper is about to make another appearance. This power surge creates a sudden blizzard that blinds another party of players just trying to get by. For them, this freak snowstorm is the worst possible timing as they are about to enter a new, more dangerous area. Nearby, another group huddles by a fire, complaining that their stubborn leader will not cooperate with anyone. Their leader, a woman named Green Small Medicine, stands up, sensing that this is no ordinary storm. Green Small Medicine explains that two powerful monsters only appear after a snowstorm, and her teammates are already terrified, knowing they are completely outmatched by these new threats. To make things worse, the two beasts are mortal enemies whose brawls are a death sentence for players. Su Mu, meanwhile, is admiring his newly upgraded Hand of Death skill with its 10% damage boost. He then opens a treasure box and gets absolutely showered with loot, exp, gold, and rare items. This kid is practically drooling over a treasure map fragment and some divine jade for his gear. With his remaining exp, he hits level 14, breaks 1000 magic attack, and finally logs off. In a completely trashed office, some guy whines about how well he treated an employee named Charlene. Turns out this is Su Yufeng, leader of the now-defunct Madman Club, with his secretary on his lap. She suggests they hit a party to network with another guild, clearly already plotting her next move. And next thing you know, they are at a bumping KTV, ready to make some shady business deals. At the party, a smarmy CEO Chin immediately roasts Su for getting his guild annihilated by Su Mu. Chin then mocks him, asking if his guild was just trash or if Su Mu is really that good. Seeing her chance, Charlene smoothly pivots to CEO Chin, claiming she is now homeless without a guild. This rich kid totally buys it, dismissing his own people so he can be alone with his new prize. Her old boss watches her leave, thinking this is all part of his brilliant plan to secure a new backer. Back in the real world, Su Mu is getting a workout in, lifting some ridiculously heavy dumbbells. He is absolutely shredded, wiping off sweat while checking a message on his phone. It is a news alert about an avalanche that buried an entire scientific expedition at Kunlun Mountain. His face goes white as he reads the name of one of the trapped scientists, his own father. Su Mu's brain short-circuits as he realizes his dad found an ice phoenix statue, a major plot point that never happened in his first life. He is connecting the dots that the game world is bleeding into reality way ahead of schedule, and his family is now involved. A frantic call to his parents confirms they are safe, but his mom is being super vague, saying some things cannot be discussed over the phone. She immediately pivots to babying him, asking if he misses her, which is not helping his panic attack at all. After hanging up, he is just baffled by his mom's weird logic, but is mostly relieved they are alive. His dad then reveals the avalanche was actually a government cover-up to hide their massive discovery. Deep inside an ice cave, his father's team has found a secret passage filled with mysterious, frozen figures. Later that night, just as Su Mu is about to sleep, his phone buzzes with a message he knows is going to be trouble. It is from Jiang Jiu, and he is immediately suspicious of why she is hitting him up so late. She asks to join him in the same main city, dangling a picture of an item she found, a fragment he instantly recognizes. Her piece fits perfectly with his, confirming it is another part of the mysterious treasure map. His eyes practically glow with greed, knowing this map leads to a fallen demon's hoard of legendary loot. Trying to play it cool, he tells himself to stay calm before typing that her treasure is useless, a bluff she sees right through. This whole acting nonchalant plan immediately falls apart as he just stares at his phone, sweating bullets. He is now in a bind, getting that map piece means meeting her in-game, which could expose his secret identity. After a brief crisis, his ego reboots and he complains about the burdens of being handsome while suggesting a server. Meanwhile, Zhang Jiu smirks at her phone, revealing she has already figured out his in-game name is Mu Shen. She wonders why he has been so secretive with his knowledge of the future since she is clearly onto him. Then she gets a little insecure, comparing her reflection to another woman and wondering if she is pretty enough. This next morning in-game, the guild is assembled and everyone's fawning over Su Mu being level 14, now stronger than their own leader. Su Mu's guildmates are practically begging him to join a life and death game, clearly just wanting to see some chaos. A system-wide alert confirms his little blizzard woke up 3 legendary monsters, and 2 are already brawling. This is actually perfect for Su Mu, who needs to kill these exact beasts to unlock a new skill. Meanwhile, another party is trapped right in the middle of the monster battle zone, completely cut off from the city. Her team is panicking, explaining the SSS level city is so hard that players are just deleting their accounts to escape. But their leader, Sword Drawn, rallies the Green Python squad, refusing to be cowards and vowing to push through. They cautiously trek through the snow, totally exposed without an assassin to scout for danger. An Ice Phoenix immediately dive bombs them, forcing the leader to throw up a desperate shield spell. This team scrambles into formation as their archer takes aim at the level 30 elite monster. Just as they start fighting the Phoenix, the ground begins to shake, something big is coming from below. A massive frost dragon erupts from the snow, instantly snatching their leader in its jaws. So much for that plan. Now the 2 legendary beasts are squaring off with the poor squad leader still stuck in the dragon's mouth. Their epic clash begins and the warrior gets tossed around like a chew toy in the ensuing chaos. She finally breaks free from the dragon's grip, screaming for her terrified team to get out of there. Her crew can only watch in horror as the 2 titans continue their world-shaking brawl. This leader orders a full retreat, telling everyone to just wait for the monsters to kill each other. But their escape is cut off by an entire army of frost dragons. They have run from the frying pan into the freezer. To make matters worse, a whole flock of ice phoenixes descends from the sky, boxing them in completely. This 2 monster armies collide in a storm of ice and magic, with the players caught right in the blast zone. It is a full-scale monster war, and this poor squad is about to become very, very dead collateral damage. This Green Python squad's tank gets absolutely blasted by a monster, sending him flying across the ice. His team is completely surrounded, panicking that there is no escape from the endless monster horde. Just as they are about to get wiped, a massive golden light erupts from nowhere, healing them completely. Then a firestorm from the heavens just deletes the entire monster army, with damage numbers flying everywhere. Su Mu's crew charges into the aftermath, hyped to farm the weakened bosses for a ton of free experience. From the squad's perspective, the apocalyptic monster war they were trapped in just ended with flaming meteors wiping everyone out. They stare in awe at the silhouette of a team walking through the flames, and the leader recognizes the name Mu Shen. It is him, the legendary player who has been breaking the game, and the whole squad is completely starstruck. Su Mu plays it cool as the leader thanks him, though he is already sizing them up based on his past life knowledge. She immediately asks if her whole squad can join his guild, promising they will pull their own weight. While Su Mu deflects, saying he is not in charge of HR, his VP happily welcomes them into the family. And just like that, a flood of system messages announces the entire squad has been absorbed into the Valley of the Gods. With his new recruits, Su Mu rallies the troops, announcing they have got the monster parts needed for his death scythe. After a 3-day trek, the massive guild alliance crosses a frozen wasteland, finally approaching Winterfell City. They arrive at the final obstacle, a massive frozen lake called Broken Sky, and the mood is electric. Su Mu checks his Trial of Michael quest, noting he is close to the main city but still has a major task ahead. A system warning pops up, explaining a deadly monster lives under the ice and falling in means instant death. When asked if he knows the trick, Su Mu confidently states that his team will be the first to cross, no question. But as they look out, they spot another guild already on the ice, the Black Dragon Hall, their main rivals. Nearby, a third stealth party watches them both, worried their invisibility is about to wear off. This stealth party is none other than Black Dragon Hall, who are convinced this lake monster is a hard wall even for Su Mu. Meanwhile, Su Mu is giving his team the world's most stressful hopscotch instructions for crossing the ice. One of his guys tries to follow the bizarre directions: jump here, step there, rotate the ice. Wait, what? He completely blanks on the last step, opting to just pick his nose in deep thought instead. This same guy is now begging Su Mu not to leave him behind, absolutely terrified of having to respawn alone. With that settled, the whole guild carefully makes its way across the floating ice bridge, almost to the shore. But just as they are about to celebrate, one of them spots an incoming magical attack. A knight in their party throws up a shield just in time, blocking a projectile from an unseen enemy. His shield shatters instantly, dealing a nasty 716 damage and knocking him off balance. He lands on a glowing red ice floe, realizing way too late that he has stepped on a trap. Suddenly, the entire lake erupts as the ice shatters beneath them and the whole team starts to fall in. This Black Dragon Hall's leader is fuming, realizing a stealth player snuck past his own assassin's detection. From the depths of the lake, the water explodes upwards with terrifying force. A massive three-headed ice hydra bursts out, and it is the guardian of Winter City. They are so screwed. All three heads immediately start charging up a massive breath attack aimed right at the scattered players. They unleash a colossal ice beam, a swirling vortex of pure frozen death. One of Su Mu's guildmates gets caught in the blast, screaming for his boss as he is vaporized. And just like that, the entire team is wiped, respawning at a nearby tree and wondering who the hell just did that. This Black Dragon Hall leader calls out the saboteur, knowing someone is trying to steal the first clear reward. Duckhead Flavor casually uncloaks, admitting she has been found and praising Mushin for his perception. Duckhead Flavor and her whole crew, Black Dragon Hall, make their grand villainous entrance. Su Mu instantly recognizes them as the ruthless top guild from his past life. This is a serious threat. While his team is sweating, our boy is already plotting how to take down their leader, totally unfazed. Duckhead Flavor immediately starts running her mouth, demanding an apology for their little stunt. Then she thanks him for showing her the secret path, basically saying, "Thanks for the intel, now die." Su Mu's guild is not backing down for a second, drawing their weapons and ready to throw hands for their boss. Black Dragon Hall scoffs at the challenge, with some dude with a giant hammer ready to turn them into paste. But their leader is thinking tactically, realizing a prolonged fight will just attract more trouble and wake the Hydra again. So she steps forward with a new proposal to settle this quickly, a one-on-one duel. She challenges Su Mu directly, promising an apology if he wins, and his team is all for it. Without a word, Su Mu just hurls a massive fireball straight at her face, so much for negotiations. Her own attack, a piercing pink arrow, collides with his spell in a huge explosion of light. Turns out she's an archer with a sniper skill that punches right through his magic, which is a problem. Su Mu gets blasted back, diving behind a tree to chug a health potion before he gets one-shotted. She is already charging up another shot, mocking him for thinking he can just hide and heal. As the countdown begins, Su Mu is still pinned down, trying to recover from that first hit. This glowing pink arrow zips right past his head, a seemingly narrow miss while he is vulnerable. His guildmates collectively lose their minds, thinking he just dodged certain death by a hair. But her team just smirks, revealing that this is no ordinary arrow and he cannot just dodge it. Su Mu realizes the arrow's energy is still active, and it is now curving around the tree for a second pass. It is a homing missile. Su Mu watches in horror as the homing arrow splits into 3 separate projectiles. There is nowhere to run. Her Heartbreak skill is a guaranteed triple hit that also freezes its target, which is just plain rude. But the arrows slam into a blue clone, a decoy he summoned with psychic stimulation at the last second. He is sweating bullets, admitting it was a close call, but now he claims to have found her weakness. Duckhead Flavor just mocks him, charging up another shot and asking how he will hide this time. Instead of hiding, Su Mu just bolts out from cover, sprinting directly at her with zero hesitation. She realizes he has figured it out. Her sniper-style attacks have a huge charge-up time, leaving her vulnerable. Even so, she is confident an undercharged shot is enough to finish him off, telling him to look at her. Suddenly, a blinding flash from above interrupts her aim, courtesy of one of Su Mu's guildmates. With her shot completely ruined, our boy smirks, casually asking if she missed something. He then unleashes a mountain-shaking strike, and everyone's brain breaks seeing a mage use a warrior skill. Su Mu's smug face says it all, revealing he got a cross-class skill reward for a previous SSS rank clear. While she is suspended in midair, she warns him her arrow will still automatically target his main body. To her complete shock, his blue clone materializes right in front of her face. This clone grabs her from behind, and she lets out a very undignified shriek of surprise. Then Su Mu himself closes in, grabbing her and pulling her into a very compromising position. He uses her as a human shield against her own homing arrows, which is just next-level petty. Down to her last few health points, he demands an apology, but she just calls him a hooligan, so he raises his hand, ready to deliver a disciplinary slap for her poor attitude. Her guild is absolutely losing their minds with rage while his team is cheering like it is a sports game. With a defiant no apology, she gets exactly what is coming to her, a disciplinary slap right across the rear. This hit connects with a satisfying smack, a lesson in manners delivered at high velocity. In front of God and everyone, a -1 damage number pops up and both guilds just stare in stunned silence. She immediately starts bawling that even her dad never did that, while Su Mu coldly tells her to apologize or get another. Her guild's fan club is absolutely losing it, calling him shameless for daring to lay a hand on their goddess. Finally breaking, she tearfully apologizes, but Su Mu makes her say sorry to his entire guild for the trouble. Meanwhile, his own team is just weirdly into it, with one guy asking if the boss can beat him next. Duckhead Flavor is completely mortified by the whole exchange, begging her team to just drop it. Su Mu, ever the pragmatist, says he is over it and suggests they all cross the lake together like reasonable adults. Her second-in-command agrees but adds a condition, a proper one-on-one rematch in 3 days. This stakes are set. If she loses, she is his maid for a month, and if he loses, he joins their guild. With the drama settled, the two guilds finally march into the magnificent SSS-level Winter City. NPC soldiers immediately salute them, and Su Mu notes his high reputation is already paying off big time. Then a flood of system alerts confirms he is the first player to arrive, burying him in gold, exp, and legendary rewards. Playing the part of a good president, Su Mu thanks his guild and tells them to go get their job promotions. A system message explains the world's progress is still low, but for now they have unlocked a whole new future. Su Mu pulls out a quick job transfer scroll, a reward that lets him skip all the boring prerequisite quests. Using the scroll presents him with 3 powerful mage advancements: Mind, Mental, or Talisman Master. He points forward, revealing that he is choosing the one class he could never afford to build in his past life. A golden aura erupts as he becomes a Talisman Master, his old skills instantly upgrading into something far more deadly. His new Talisman Master class comes with a 5-element skill, a high-ick rotation of different elemental attacks. On top of that, he gets a frost-killing formation and 2 more skills that require perfect timing to master. One of them, 10,000 Talismans Festival, can trigger a god mode buff that makes him temporarily invincible, and the other is a multi-teleport that deals collateral damage. The game just turned him into a one-man army. Su Mu immediately uses an enhancement scroll to get his personal talisman to +10, boosting his stats through the roof. He is now flexing his 1200 plus magic attack while other mages are barely hitting 700. It pays to be the main character. Walking through Winter City, he mulls over his to-do list and the lingering mystery of who helped him in the snow forest. His first stop is the local reputation merchant, a giant Viking-looking dude who does not look friendly. This merchant just gives him a stony "what is the matter," clearly unimpressed by the new arrival. This guy tries to play hardball about reputation, but Su Mu knows he has more than enough to get what he wants. This merchant offers him 3 quests, all with the exact same dangerous difficulty, a classic NPC troll move. But when Su Mu just picks one, the merchant suddenly calls them too easy and offers a special intimate task instead. He accepts getting a mysterious jade piece and a new SSS-Rank quest, find a woman named Auguste to the north. As Su Mu holds the jade, he tries to place the name Auguste, and then the memories come flooding back. It is the world-ending NPC from his past life, a terrifying storm who slaughtered players and was considered a literal bug in the game. He immediately tries to cancel the mission, but the merchant just stares at him, offering 0 customer support. This old man just cryptically says secrets are not easy to uncover, basically telling him good luck, do not die. Su Mu starts questioning everything, wondering if this world has secrets he never discovered in his first life. His destination is a massive, foreboding ice castle, the kind of place you'd expect to find in Apocalypse. Deciding to procrastinate on certain death, he picks up a much simpler quest from a blacksmith to recover a stolen sword. Thanks to Su Mu's hard work, the entire server gets a progress update, unlocking rankings and new events for everyone. And speaking of rankings, the leaderboard shows the top player is a mysterious assassin named C.I. Tian. World chat immediately loses its collective mind over his impossible +15 legendary weapon. One player is even crying about how unfair it is, admitting he rage reported the guy for cheating. Turns out that salty player is Su Mu himself, who is just glad he hid his identity so no one knows it is him. Meanwhile, his guild chat is buzzing as everyone gets their job promotions and starts flexing their new skills. Su Mu just rolls his eyes at one dude who clearly picked his class based entirely on how cool it looked. He then lays down the law, telling everyone to grind for 2 days to prepare for a massive guild-wide survival dungeon. With his guild business handled, our boy takes a quiet moment to enjoy the moonlit view of Winter City. Then we hard cut to a secret research base where some guy just got arrested for treason, a total mood shift. This traitor tried to steal an ancient centipede to sell to an enemy country, and his colleagues are not impressed. They agree that jail time is getting off easy, and it all came down to a massive payday from a foreign power. This lead researcher reveals that other countries were offering 100 million for their biological samples. But despite all the high-stakes research, they are staring at a giant bioorb, admitting they have made 0 progress. This ancient centipede is basically an indestructible million-year-old ball of nope, and they are also stuck on an ice phoenix statue. One of the researchers, Yoko, gets a weird feeling about some ice figurines and suggests they go investigate. They enter a storage room filled with frozen people surrounding a massive, glowing ice phoenix. This old man touches one of the figures and realizes with dawning horror that the statue is completely hollow. Yoko drops the bombshell theory: what if these ice statues are actually hosts for the ancient centipedes? He turns to ask her more, but she's just staring blankly into space, completely unresponsive. This lead researcher is just frozen in shock, barely able to process what he is hearing. And then all the ice statues start to move, glowing with an ominous blue light. Meanwhile, Su Mu is stress-eating skewers, deciding that facing a world-ending NPC can wait until after dinner. A random girl suddenly appears asking if he is alone, to which he gives a very smooth "who are you?" She reminds him he helped her win a tournament, and he finally recalls her as Little Fool. Then she tries to guilt him into buying her food with a story he knows is completely made up. After chugging a soda, she asks if he is on her server, finally getting to the point of this ambush. He says no, and she pouts, revealing she found a hidden map and wanted to invite him along. This phrase, hidden map, immediately gets Su Mu's full and undivided attention. She explains that someone accidentally unlocked the Qing Emperor's secret realm, asking if he knows about it. our boy just pulls out his phone saying he saw it on the forums and is already calling his guild to raid it. In the group chat, he sets a time to meet, while one rich guy flexes about bringing Ferrari models. For complaining about the early start, that same rich dude gets immediately kicked from the chat. Su has no time for slackers. Back in Winter City, the guild gathers, including the rich guy who still showed up despite being booted. He is now a hidden swordsman, proudly showing off the glow of his +10 enhanced weapon. Another member reveals she has become a Doctor of Light, ready to take on the healer role. They then ask the blonde knight why he has not changed jobs, and Su wonders if he will pick a different path this life. Elsewhere, two rival guild leaders discuss strategy, noting Black Dragon Hall is consolidating its forces in Winter City. This scene cuts to the city's grand teleport tower glowing with magical energy. A tiny fairy teleporter pops up, cheerfully offering a trip to the world of Apocalypse for a mere 50 gold. This fairy teleporter says the city is packed, warning of a 2-hour wait for the common folk. But for the low price of 5,000 gold ahead, she can offer a secret fast pass. What a deal. Su just tells his buddy to take the VIP route, casually dropping a fortune like it is pocket change. Arriving in the massive Qingjiang city, the whole squad strikes a pose, ready for the main event. They see the place is crawling with players, and a guildmate spots their rivals, Black Dragon Hall, in the crowd. Speaking of rivals, we see the enemy guild led by a red-haired girl with some very advanced classes. Su notes she is now a string controller, a perfect counter for mages, but he is not just any mage. That same girl immediately sends him a friend request and a challenge, clearly still salty about their last encounter. At the entrance to the swirling blue vortex, Su remembers clearing this in his past life, but now he is the leader. A system message welcomes them to the Qing Emperor ruins as they step through the portal. Inside, they are greeted by the sight of a petrified giant impaled by a ridiculously oversized sword. His team gawks at the mountains, and Su has to break it to them that those are not mountains. This lore reveals this giant once hunted gods but was pinned here by a forerunner, a being who made emperors look like ants. Totally unfazed by the apocalyptic scenery, Su just points at the sword and says, "Let us go." This blonde knight identifies the hilt as their goal, while the redhead is having a mild panic attack about the danger. As the team marches across the desolate landscape, the ground beneath them begins to stir ominously. Suddenly, the red-headed guy gets smacked on the head by something invisible, and no one believes him. Turns out they are surrounded by ghostly white walkers, spectral enemies floating in the haze. This redhead panics, reading that they have 1 HP but are immune to all attacks, a classic puzzle monster. He then takes a solid 213 damage from another hit, finally proving it is real and very painful. Su finally steps up, unleashing a 5 elements fire talisman to handle the ghost problem himself. This spell creates a massive ring of fire, giving the team a temporary safe zone from the invisible mobs.